1 minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back renaissance, and what does this game kind of need to look like for this era of the running back to be back? And you're welcome to weigh in. Yes,
it was a glory year. You have to admit
it was a good one.
I mean, just to have the three-headed monster of Saquon, Derrick Henry, and Jahmyr Gibbs ended up with 1,400 yards when he only had half the season. I still argue he's the best of the three. I think this is something. Like, this is a thing.
Well, and the other part, let's do the flip side of this. Look at what happened with the 49ers offense with McCaffrey.
I
know it wasn't just McCaffrey. They lost a ton of guys.
I know.
I mean, they were in the overtime of the Super Bowl, lose Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk and other guys. But it just the offense, I mean, say goodbye to Brock Purdy MVP candidate with no Christian McCaffrey and no Brandon Ayuk.
I think we can include your guy, James Cook, in this conversation, too. How many times did the Bills hand it off to him coming out of the second half of the AFC title game?
He was that drive.
Yeah, and
you
have an MVP-type quarterback, and even the Bills turned to their running back. It is, I think you got to look at the coaches, too. All these coaches really are embracing the run game. It's doing wonderful things for them.
So you're welcome to weigh in on that topic and Saquon Barkley and what you expect. We're going to be doing a bunch of props for the Super Bowl coming up later in the show when Nick Kostos joins us in his weekly spot from You Better You Bet. That happens at 8:20 Eastern Time. Now, unfortunately, serious news that broke yesterday regarding Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker. This has a little bit of a Deshaun Watson kind of feel, Pearl, where he's being accused by 6 different massage therapists from high-end spas in the Baltimore area of being inappropriate and beyond inappropriate, egregious behavior towards these women and these massage therapists. So he's not being charged with anything right now. And
which is different than the Deshaun Watson. I feel like we knew about Deshaun Watson because of the lawsuits first.
Exactly.
This one is, the reporting has come before the actual lawsuits, as far as we know.
And, depending on the statute of limitations has actually run out because these are allegations that happened earlier on in his career. So we're talking 2012 to 2016 type time frame. This is something that's coming together pretty quick. It's being reported by a newspaper called the Baltimore Banner. They received a tip on January 9th, and that's where they started investigating and talking to these different massage therapists who didn't know each other. And all had very similar stories that he was, and again, want to be sensitive if they have people and kids in the car, just doing things that massage therapists say they've given hundreds of massages before, and the draping doesn't fall off 3 times. You have to kind of want to expose yourself, is what they're saying, for these kinds of things to happen. Allegations that he kind of initiated contact, if you will, with areas, his genitals and things like that. So there's another part of this where the allegations are that he was banned from different massage places. Now, Justin Tucker and his lawyers have come out full throttle defense. Never happened. This was, these things just purely didn't happen as far as what happened during the massage. And he's also saying he never got banned from anywhere. But you have lawyers from these massage businesses,
managers, right, or lawyers?
Lawyers,
the managers from the actual businesses who talk to the newspaper.
Yeah, managers and lawyers now for these businesses who say he absolutely was banned. And whether there was 2 that outright banned him and apparently told him so, and then there's another that just said every time he would call, we would just say, we're busy, we're fully booked, to try to protect their massage therapist. So again, really disgusting allegations here. And here we are again. Now, Justin Tucker has every right to defend himself here, and he's not getting charged with anything, Perloff. But as we know, the NFL, you don't need to have been charged with a crime for the NFL to come down with some kind of discipline.
I think this might take a while, though, because this, again, is a journalistic story. I think there's probably going to be a lawsuit because there'll be a civil lawsuit. So we have to hear some of these people speak under oath. Mm-hmm. And then we can, right now we're definitely in the allegation stage. I think we'll know a lot more once this gets into the court system. It just feels, maybe I'm naive and it won't get into the court system, but it feels like this feels like a civil case. And then we'll have people do depositions and he'll have to answer things with the penalty of lying, not be able to lie.
Yeah.
And the managers will have to say things under oath. So I think we're going to find out a lot more in this case. And I'm not even sure there's a rush because I don't think this is going away.
I don't think it's going away. Yeah. And I think really the NFL levying any kind of discipline might be the only thing that could happen here. So reading from this Baltimore Banner article, they said that legal experts said that some criminal statutes that may have applied if these allegations were proven true, indecent exposure, possibly battery, that limitation has expired. And in any event, such cases are rarely prosecuted. One expert said any civil court case, such as a claim for intentional infliction of emotional distress against Tucker, could face a very high bar for success. So I'm wondering, I think it might just be the NFL who could be left here. I don't know if even a civil suit is going to go anywhere, according to this article.
Oh, okay. Well, the NFL, I was just thinking about one thing, and it is a totally different thing. It's a criminal case, but Rashee Rice, they're waiting for the courts to play out on Rashee Rice. As far as I know, they haven't made any ruling, right?
Yeah, same with Deshaun Watson. They waited for that to...
And that makes sense, too, because they don't have they don't have any legal power. They can bring people into the room. And famously, they've made mistakes where they've brought people into the room. Like, there's a reason the court system is the way it is, and people get lawyers. Like, I don't love when the NFL does their own investigations without working with the police. So I think this is going to be a real tricky one for them to wait. I mean, I think, don't you? I'm surprised you just said there might not be a civil case.
That's what it says here in this article. I'm not a legal expert. Amy Dash couldn't join us, unfortunately, today because she's traveling, but we can try to get some clarity there. But this article said it could be very tough. So maybe the NFL disciplining him, if at all, if these allegations are proven true, is the only thing that could happen to him. And then you wonder, like, is his career over? It's a Hall of Fame kicker. He had a terrible season.
Well, if there's
by his standards, like, do you think this was weighing over his head? Or I don't know, because it was very jarring of how inconsistent he was this year.
Well, if they suspend him for 4 games, I mean, like that, there's no legal cases. I mean, how long can they suspend him for? I don't think his career is done at all. I mean, by the way, we were talking about character. You know where the punt god Matt Araiza plays right now?
Yeah, in Kansas City. He's playing in the Super Bowl.
Again, character pick.
Yeah, and he was cleared, but he...
but yeah, anyway, I'm just saying, like, I mentioned Matt Araiza, like, if that guy can get through all that and still be in the NFL, like Justin Tucker with just allegations that never go to court, I think he'll still be viable as a player. Do you think there's any chance that this could end his career? The kicker.
I'm not sure. We have a long way to go here. The allegations are pretty alarming. I mean, Deshaun Watson got 11 games. This would just be the one thing I want to ask any of these NFL players who go get these massages. You've got massage therapists in the building where you work. Why are you going all around town? Like, what do your body is your life. You would trust it even to somebody who's not a professional working with an NFL team? That's the question we can never get answered with these things. We're back in a moment.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Choosing up sides before this Super Bowl. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. If you're not a Chiefs fan, if you're not an Eagles fan, well,
You're out of luck.
Who are you rooting for? The answer seems to be neither. But you know how this goes, Pearl. It's storytelling, right? How do we tell the story of this game, and how do we tell the story of what's at stake? And the Chiefs have certainly, with their success, have become a bit of, I won't say the villain, but definitely some backlash for sure. People are sick of them. Chiefs fatigue. We've talked about it. Here's Travis Kelce talking on his own podcast about how he loves being the villain of the NFL.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. At one point in time, it wasn't that. And
you were the cinder. You guys were the darling of the NFL.
Yeah, I was the do you feel bad for him guys. And
you're now the heel.
I'm enjoying doing this with the guys together, the guys that we have in there, because it's like it just makes us even more of a family. You just circle the wagons.
You jabroni!
First of all, do you believe Travis Kelce that he does like being the villain? And two, is this really a great thing? I mean, you have to embrace it now because you've got no choice. You got to turn it into a positive. But I don't think he loves this role.
Oh, he loves it. First of all, and this is for EJ, like he seems like a massive pro wrestling fan. And what kind of pro wrestling fan doesn't want to be the heel? I mean, that's by far even as a kid, like I never liked the good guys. I mean, me and my friends all worship Roddy Piper. Like he's the best. Why would you want to be a pro wrestler and never turn heel? I think it's like the pro wrestling thing. Like, and he seems to really embrace that culture. Not as much as Kittle, but still like.
Yeah. Well, hold on though, because there's a part of Kelce, and listen, as far as his post like football career or whatever, he's going to be fine. But he's definitely dating somebody who's more America's sweetheart than America's villain.
Right. That kind of helps him in a way. Like he can bounce. And also the other thing about him is he's like, everyone knows he's a nice guy. Like have you ever seen him with his Jason Kelce's kids? Like he's Uncle Trav too. Like he's established enough of being a nice guy that he can mess around here and have no real ramifications. What are the ramifications? He's going to get $20 million to do a movie the day he retires. He's actually already doing movies.
Yeah.
I think this is all adding. It's kind of like The Rock. I just think it's making him a bigger star, raising his profile.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Hollywood is a different thing, right? Doing movies and stuff like that's very, very different. But as far as your public persona, I mean, you're now asking the public to love you. See, the one thing in sports is you can be good guy or bad guy. You're always going to have your fan base, right? And he'll have the Chiefs fans for the rest of your life. But you don't want to be the guy who people are sick of and people don't like and people find, like they're done with you. That's not what you want as far as someone who has clearly the career ambitions of Travis Kelce. Like you want as universal appeal. This is what Taylor's going for. She's kind of mastered it. I know that there's some backlash to her elitist, the politics, but like she, I think is like her songs aren't controversial. She's trying to appeal to a mass audience. One of the biggest tricks that she's done, not tricks, one of the biggest positives is that the kids and the moms all like the music. Like when does music generally bridge two generations? Like, how often do you love the music your parents listen to? Like, rare, except for maybe the classics. Like,
I think you're getting a little off track, but yeah, I know what you mean.
But I'm just saying, her brand is based on likability.
Yeah.
His brand now could be villain, and that doesn't square with, I think, what he wants and where he wants to go. It doesn't fit. Can I give you an example?
Right.
You remember when LeBron James went to Miami?
Yeah.
And when he turned heel?
Yep.
And he took his talents to South Beach. And what happened? He became the villain of the league, right? And he had to wear the black hat.
Yeah.
And it was so uncomfortable for him.
Not two, not three, not four, not five.
It didn't fit. LeBron wanted to be the big brother of the league. He doesn't want to be the villain of the league. That's for the Desmond Baines or whatever. Well, not Desmond Bain, Dillon.
Dillon Brooks.
Yeah, Dillon Brooks. Thank you. Desmond Bain is cool.
Right.
The Dillon Brookses and even more like the Rasheed Wallaces if you want to go to even like a higher level. And I don't think this fits Travis. So he can say, I love being the villain and all of that. I don't think he does. I think he wants to embrace. He likes applause way more than he likes booze.
I think he's the next Rock. Did The Rock invent jabroni, or is that
That's an Iron Sheik thing, but The Rock is popularized it.
Jabroni. And Travis Kelce, is that his catchphrase? Like, you don't think he's just mirroring The Rock? I assume The Rock turned heel at certain points of his career, right? And he's the biggest star of all time.
This whole Jabroni thing started with The Rock being a heel.
Yeah. No, Travis Kelce is a pro wrestling character. See, I think he's going to embrace that, and he's going to get huge movies right after, big movies for a player. I think this.
Do you think none of this Chiefs backlash that's happening now, this Chiefs backlash and fatigue, impacts him in his next life?
No, because I think I think fans can separate sports hate and hate. Like, I think it's like it makes him a bigger character. It makes him more famous. Like, it's all good. I think he has so many options. If he retires this year, do you think EJ, will he go into pro wrestling? Has he talked about it? I mean,
not that I've seen.
I think he's definitely going to become a bigger star. Yeah, I think it's all, it's part of the act. Like, he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He's a huge personality. I think this is great. And by the way, also, what choices you have? If he came off, like, people respond authentic. If he came out and was just like trying to be a nice guy, everyone would smell right through it. He's cocky, and like that's part of the Travis Kelce act. He gets a first down and he dances like it's always been that way. He's
but people
outgoing.
used to like it, and now they don't. Like,
they will.
Isn't it also on celebrities who want to be entertainers and want to cross over? Isn't it on them to reinvent themselves and not just keep going with the same thing? Like, ask people who actually do have to be entertainers for a living. You can't just play the same note.
Well, I mean, he's in Happy Gilmore 2, which is going to be amazing. And he was in that Grotesquerie show on FX. Like, I think he's going to become a multimedia superstar. And also, if you ever listen to New Heights, which is it still a top 5 podcast? I think it's still number 1. He's so likable on that. Like, you can't listen to that and not like that dude. So I think he can balance all the bad guy stuff and be just fine. And the reality is he's going to be more than just fine. He's going to be a superstar because he's dating Taylor Swift.
Does anyone even know if he's a good actor? I've never watched that show that he's on.
I've no chance I've watched that show.
Right.
Well, he's he's definitely good on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that I saw a little bit of.
And that's definitely a skill, for sure.
Yeah, but maybe he's like Howie Long. Like, is he going to win an Oscar? No. But is he going to have a couple kick-ass action adventure movies? Heck yeah.
There's one thing I do want to bring up, though, and it's something our friend Spike Eskin mentioned about Jason Kelce, and that when he had the incident at Penn State, that Jason did not realize how famous he was, perhaps, and that perhaps there are people who don't like you, even if you don't do anything in theory to, like, provoke them. I think Travis may want to be careful with embracing being the villain because he, in many ways, has even more visibility than his brother. And if you're going to say, I want to actively antagonize people, that just comes with a lot. Like Draymond Green talked about it himself. Like if he had to do all over again, he wouldn't be a villain because he knows all this crap that comes outside of being the villain. So I'd say for Travis Kelce, yes, he's got a lot of stuff set up, but it's a lot of crap that comes with also deciding, I'm going to be the bad guy. My thing is, I don't think he can actually do it.
No, me neither.
Like I think Perloff's right in the sense that he's a nice guy. He's a fun guy. Like you may think he's annoying, but is he a villain like Draymond Green? Like no.
He is a trash talker though, in a harmless way.
Yeah,
he always has been a trash talker.
Yeah,
big trash talker.
You're right about Draymond Green, Charles Barkley, these guys who like off the field also like dealt with the smoke. You know?
Yeah, but I don't think Travis Kelce's in the same bucket with those guys at all.
Yeah, that's why this feels disingenuous. Him saying, I love being the villain. It's like, no, you don't.
Come on, man.
He got up, he goes up on that podium where everyone says nothing. And he makes Jim Nantz so uncomfortable by being such an outrageous character. That's been happening for years.
Nothing will make Jim Nantz more uncomfortable than Tony Romo.
Oh, dude, Travis.
Take a backseat, Trav.
Travis grabbing the mic out of whoever's head, I don't know if it's Nance, started to sing Fight for Your Right to Party. Like, those announcers have no idea how to handle Travis. He's always been a crazy character in the NFL. He's done dances on the field that are crazy. Like, he's a huge celebrator. I don't think he has a choice. I think this is his style.
You know, it's funny.
Hit my ass!
EJ's, you bring up a point about the Jason Kelce when he smashed the guy's phone at Penn State. And I think people were mostly on Jason Kelce's side of that because the guy seemed to be totally provoking him.
Absolutely.
But look at how much they all have to lose right now. You got Jason and Travis have the podcast. Kylie Kelce now has a podcast, and that shot up to number 1. They've got Jason's late night show. Taylor hangs in the balance. And by the way, do anything to cross her, and the next 4 albums are going to be about you. And we're going to learn things about you that you probably didn't want us to know.
Well, that's a different issue. Staying with Taylor Swift has nothing to do with this. I don't whether he's loud and obnoxious and embraces villain. Like you're saying, if he breaks up with her, the Swifties aren't going to care what the deal is. They're going to hate him, right? Isn't that
fair?
Poor Jake Gyllenhaal. Well, ask him. Byron, New Heights is #1 in the world in podcasts still.
855-212-4227. What did Brad in Alabama called us the first hour and asked if Taylor was going to cry if they lose?
I think there's no chance she cries. I think she's more of a Giselle, where I think actually after the game she's like, that frog voice couldn't throw the ball to my boyfriend. I think she's more the opposite.
wow.
I think she'd be like my husband can't catch the ball for other people, like Giselle said. I think,
Tommy can't throw the ball and catch the ball.
Is like just throwing people under the bus.
I don't think you throw Mahomes under the bus. That guy's got a pretty high football approval rating.
I know, but you think Taylor Swift cares?
I do think she cares. She's so intimidated by Mahomes. She hangs out with Brittany Mahomes. You know how painful that must be for her. I think she's scared of Patrick Mahomes' ability.
What did you say? That frog voice can't throw to my boyfriend.
I'm
EJ.
trying to find something that's equally to what Giselle said about those wide receivers.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think maybe she blames the officials.
People made fun of my voice for my entire life.
She can't blame Mahomes.
Imagine if Taylor Swift comes out and blames the officials. Like, wow, she's just like us. that would make her more likable.
She doesn't seem, Giselle was all business. This is Giselle Bunchkin we're talking about. She's more entrepreneur than model. Like she was.
You think Taylor Swift is all business?
Yeah, well, no, but Giselle was like basically, the German in Giselle comes out pretty quick. She's about efficiency. She's like, you ever see, I think they're very different characters, Giselle and Taylor Swift.
Guten Tag.
The naivety about Taylor Swift from
but the naivety about Giselle.
No, I just said that Giselle is a cutthroat. That's what I agree with you. I'm saying that you don't think that Taylor Swift, that same killer. It's like we talk about with quarterbacks. Yeah. Maggie says all quarterbacks are killers. All billionaires are killers, Perloff.
Yeah, but I think Giselle, I know she's from Brazil, but as a German, it can be much more frank after a game. Than Taylor is not. Taylor's not known for her honest takes on things, right?
Unless you're in a song.
Yeah. She gets you in a song 3 years later. She's going to have a song about Clete Blakeman in 2 years if the Eagles lose. She's not going to say anything after it. And I think
why is her album called Line Judge?
I think she will cry. I'll cry. If we why wouldn't you cry? This is a big game. She's super invested.
Dude, you got to hold it together. She can't cry.
You don't think there's a possibility of a tear? What if it's a close game? And what if they win? She might cry.
Well,
she already had that.
Winning and crying. That's happy tears are different.
What if he gets down to a knee after the Chiefs win the Super Bowl? Crying then? Tears then?
My God!
I hope he doesn't.
Yeah,
that's going to turn people off.
Did you cry, Maggie?
What?
When you were asked to be married?
Yeah, I was, but I didn't just win the Super Bowl. I was having a real relationship. I don't. That would come across as so over the top.
So over the top.
Finally.
So
my husband proposed after Tyler Bass finally kicked a 60-yarder.
I think proposing on the field in New Orleans after Super Bowl win would be the coolest proposal of all time. That's a guy take.
Oh, my gosh. EJ, put it on the poll.
That's a guy take.
Oh, my God.
Coolest or lamest. By the way, the dude at Boise State already did it. So you're copycat now. And someone else did it after the Rams Super Bowl.
And Carlos Correa did it after the World Series.
And Carlos Correa did it. And no, they were cheating.
Oh, I don't even know about that one. The Boise State thing is already the #1 coolest, but doing it after the Super Bowl would rival that.
That would be the corniest thing maybe in the history of sports if Travis Kelce pulled that.
My God.
He wouldn't.
Travis Kelce's super corny, guys.
No, but you said it would be cool. That's my point.
It'd be amazing. Oh, it'd be the greatest. It would be the single greatest proposal in the history of mankind.
Oh,
it'd be so funny.
Diametric
my
opposite,
God.
Single worst proposal.
If he did it with Ian Rappaport interviewing him and just this would be the most amazing. You don't think it would be in history books if he did this?
Who knew Cupid was so big?
Yeah, you really think you think Taylor Swift wants random NFL media people in the background?
Oh, Chad Steele, the Baltimore Ravens PR guy who is always assigned to the star player after the Super Bowl, will be standing right there. It's going to be amazing. It is going to be the coolest proposal ever. If Travis could do that, if he could pull this off,
let's come up with the media person who would be the most awkward, worst choice to be caught in the background of
Andrew
the Taylor
Perloff.
Travis. I think Perloff's pretty high on the list.
I would cry. I'm a romantic.
I mean, you'd be immortal You are going to the game.
Well, I mean that on-field interview is very curated. I think it's probably like NFL Network gets one and Fox gets one. I think Schrager's doing sideline. Maybe he could get it. Peter Schrager, our buddy.
I mean, I'd be happy for Peter.
Jack Collinsworth.
Oh no!
I don't think Travis
Jack.
is going to be in the middle of an interview. By the way, I think he's going to.
No, he'd be on the field. Like he'd have to. She's there watching the podium.
Right,
he comes down. So like that, anyone who's got a field pass can be around them.
But Tom Pelissero is not going to have a mic in his face, and he's going to say, "Excuse me, Tom Taylor." I think he's going to wait for a moment where he's got some space.
There's just something I'd like to say.
I mean, he's already got the confetti there. I mean, he's killed two birds with one stone.
Where would he put the ring?
I mean, like
it where?
T.O. put it in his socks.
In his socks, put it in his pants.
I'm sure she'd love that.
I've
been saving this for you.
I don't want a ring in your pants could end up in places you don't want it to go, man.
It's like,
how are you going to
where
put
is
it in
it?
your
Uh-oh.
pants?
How do
You
you
said
know,
that
Paul?
with such assuredness. What are you talking about?
How do you know if it's uncomfortable?
Could end up traveling.
Oh, that got dirty fast. Don't they have little pockets somewhere on there? Like a little, I don't know, a little ring pocket in case you want to propose after a game?
I don't think Nike has had pockets in the pants of the jersey.
Well, we're gonna know.
Nike can barely cover up the guys' butts.
We're gonna know early on in the game. We're gonna zoom in on Travis Kelce's socks to see if there's a ring shape in there. Kind of like my wallet throughout high school. You know how the
Oh my god!
you put one prophylactic in there, stays there for 4 years, and the ring is there. That thing did not move. You guys, maybe that's like an older school thing, but yeah.
Wait, what did you call that? A old school thing?
An old school thing. Where
I hope it's not an old school thing. People should still be protecting themselves.
Do
out
people
there.
put protective stuff in their wallets still?
I mean, when I was in high school, they told me that you shouldn't put it in your wallet because it actually messes with the efficiency of the condom.
Oh, yeah. Right. It's got to be kept in like a.
Yeah, like that was one thing they told us. Like I know, like we promote safety, but like put it somewhere else, not your wallet. Don't do what they do in the movies.
I can think of something I would like to do for 9 hours.
Yes, we talked about that yesterday. 9 hours.
How did we get to 9 hours? The length of the Fox pregame show?
Yes.
Actually, 10 hours. I heard it the other day.
Man,
10 hours of pregame show.
I would love 10 hours of Knicks basketball.
Knicks basketball.
That's what we're talking about, right?
So what's the wording of the poll? Should Travis Kelce pop the question if they win the game?
You said it'd be the best proposal ever.
I'm saying, would Travis Kelce proposing Chelsea with after winning the Super Bowl be the coolest proposal or the corniest proposal?
There you go. Perfect.
Can
I vote twice on this poll?
What if he does it and she says no?
Well, okay, then give me a more creative, bigger proposal. Like, what are you going to do with it?
Go to Bora
Niagara
Bora.
Falls or something? Like, how are you going to top the field of the Superdome? What's better than that? What's more creative than that?
Yeah, what's more romantic than the Superdome?
Yeah, there's no intimacy in showing and being in front of watching hundreds of millions of people watching you propose to someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with.
You're Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. What are you just going to do it on a beach like everybody else? You got to be incredibly unique.
That's not unique. We just talked about all the people that have done it before.
That's true.
I think 2 people, but none of them were the Super Bowl.
No, the guy did it from the Rams.
Right.
2 years ago.
Oh.
No, more than 2. What am I talking about? 3.
This is not unique. This has been done before.
4?
It's been a while.
Oh my gosh. That was our first year of doing the national show.
But there was a guy in the Rams. I missed that altogether.
To win the championship thing and then proposing to your girl is just one of the least unique things you can do.
It's one step away from just the stadium proposal from a fan.
Right.
You're saying, I'm just curious. We've just named 4 times and it's already the least unique. Like, you're right. Like, doing it on a beach with a camera guy hiding in the bush, that's unique. Like, what's your option? All right, then let's take time during the break. You guys come up with a better Travis Kelce plan.
I will.
My plan was better.
What was that?
He's in London.
To the center of the universe.
Went to the Earth's core?
We went to the
Greenwich
Prime
Mean?
Meridian.
Yeah, the Prime Meridian.
That's cute.
Manny had to think about it for a second.
What the hell's the Prime Meridian?
That was the next question.
That's why Manny missed his final.
Downtown.
Manny missed his final. That's why he doesn't know the Prime Meridian is.
It's a bar on Houston Street.
That's actually how I order my steaks.
855-212-4227. I'll come up with a better proposal.
I mean, you certainly could beat the Prime Meridian. Jeez Louise.
I also got engaged in London, but at a different place. And I think it's great.
London Stadium.
Lame.
I didn't get engaged at Wembley.
What was your proposal, Mr. Cool Proposals over there?
I got down on one knee in Angkor Wat, Cambodia, in front of a temple that had been around since 800 BC.
I thought you did it at the vet parking lot.
I wish I
I've been
did.
better, apparently.
Yeah, outside the men's room
the
on
prime
level
meridian?
200
You could have been 50 yards off, 100. How do you actually know you were on the prime meridian?
Because the world has actually acknowledged Greenwich Park as the center. It's the official part of the world.
We all sound so bougie, by the way. This is ridiculous. going to 2 London proposals. Ugh.
You just said Cambodia. You just topped it.
You forced me into it. I wasn't going to say it. I would have rather have done it after winning the state title in basketball, but
that wasn't happening. 855-212-4227. Actually, Kaplan coming in from the chat. Getting engaged is lame. Why should they get married? There you go. Very modern take.
Wow.
Lots
Kaplan
more to do.
Isn't Kaplan married?
He married?
Well, I think you might have your answer. I don't know. Cap, are you married? Adorable kid. Beautiful. Okay, coming up.
Not married.
Not married. Okay. I think we could have picked that up from the context clues. Lots more to get to, including more for the Super Bowl, of course, but we have someone's draft stock is plummeting, and it's for one specific reason. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. Travis Kelce calls me and wants some advice from a married man. I will tell him, win the Super Bowl, get down on one knee, and give that ring to Taylor Swift.
Oh.
It is the coolest guy fantasy ever. To win the Super Bowl is like the ultimate. And then to marry America's biggest pop star, I don't know if that's the ultimate guy fantasy, but that seems like a lot of work. But regardless, he's got to do it here. This is the only chance he'll have. This one opportunity. We don't even know if he's going to play next year. And who knows, maybe Mahomes gets hurt next year. You got to take advantage now.
This is the worst idea. This is such a guy idea. You know, you're not thinking about it from the woman's point of view. She's already the most famous person, one of the most famous people alive, and you think she wants to share this moment with everybody in a way she has no control over? Guys, let's not forget, she's a business person. And she's got an image and she's got an everything to uphold.
Yeah, but this would be an unbelievable chance to embarrass your future wife. He would, don't you think that'd be fun? He's going to be laughing. He's like, Taylor, can you believe I just got you right there? It's
they
will
never make it to the altar if he does this. That engagement will last long and then fizzle. No, I thought about it. I have an idea for Travis Kelce. It has nothing to do with the Super Bowl. But first, Sean is in Oregon. Sean, you're not into this Travis Kelce turning villain.
No, and I'm with you. That'd be the most dumb guy idea.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't exactly Aristotle.
I think Kelce's more famous for being Taylor Swift's boyfriend than he is a football player.
I agree.
I'll tell you that right. I don't look at him. He's not Gronkowski. You know, like Gronkowski's guy you want to hand the microphone to. That's this is not that guy, and I'm just not buying into all that.
Hey, Sean, hold on one second. I got to call you out on this. You think Travis Kelce is a Mensa member compared to Rob Gronkowski? I think Travis is way more in control of everything that's going on, and he's completely comfortable in the spotlight.
I think he hams it up. I think he puts on a little show out there for his girlfriend. And that was like that whole thing when he grabbed the microphone and he's doing the thing on the podium. That was all. We looked at that as he's like a big ham and putting on a little show. I don't look at him as being a real guy. He's the worst villain ever. I don't look at him as being like Lyle Alzado. I don't look at him as being a villain at all.
Alzado. I mean, let's not take this place to somewhere tragic. Sean, love you. Thanks for the call.
Lyle Alzado in his playing days was like a real big-time villain.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing to do with the sad ending of Lyle Alzado.
Okay. I wasn't sure where he was going with that. It's like, we don't want this careening off the rails here.
No, Lyle Alzado and the Raiders, they were embrace the bad guy. That was their vibe on purpose. It was awesome. But I'm not sure. Like Kelce and Gronk are very similar. Gronk's a performer. Gronk's not dumb. I mean, remember that rumor that he's good at math? I think Kelce and him are very. They're both the two dancing tight ends. Like they get in the end zone and they're always like, I don't know. They're very similar to me. You know,
I love puppies.
Connection? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, if Gronk wanted to date a famous pop star, he could have. He dated a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. It's not that far off.
Exactly. I mean, you're right. Travis doesn't sound like Gronk sounds like a meathead, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think he'd take offense to us saying that. But Kelce doesn't sound quite like that, but they're very similar. They're performers.
Okay, let's go. Barry's in South Jersey agrees with me, and I think EJ, and I'm not sure where Manny is on this, proposing after the Super Bowl would be a terrible idea.
Oh, it's amazing.
You're right, Maggie. I agree with you to the nth degree. My respect for Perloff just went down a notch or two.
It took that? Did you listen to hour one?
Right. Some things don't require publicity. You can push them away. I got married 9 months ago, and I'm going on 80 years old, and I got down on one knee. My fiance was sitting on our sofa. I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me and handed her the ring, and she said yes. And there couldn't have been a sweeter moment in my life ever after all these years.
Was it?
That's awesome. Could you get back up off the knee?
Yeah. And to do it in front of $150 million, 150 million people, I should say, on TV is nuts.
Wait, Barry, did you plan it, or was it impromptu?
No. Well, I thought about where and stuff. A restaurant is silly in front of people. Just some things require privacy, and I think I'm a pretty cool, hip guy. But some things need to be done the proper way.
Yep.
And we talk about it. We talk about it all the time. How sweet it was. So,
Barry, congratulations! I love this. Getting engaged, 80 years old, fantastic. Wishing you and your fiance nothing but happiness. And he said $150 million. Meant to say he said $150 million, not people. That's how much that ring's going to cost. $150 million. Even Travis, who's rich beyond belief, is going to need to probably take out a loan.
No, he's not going to pay a dime for that. If Taylor Swift's wedding ring, they're going to be jewelers lining up to hand him that. I'm watching a video of Travis Kelce's touchdown celebrations. That dude has been wild his entire career. Yeah. Wild. I mean, it's like a party in the end zone. He's outgoing or whatever. I don't know what it is. I think he's being authentic. Okay, well, unlike Sean.
He used to need that stuff to stand out, doing the dating show, all of that. Now the fame has come to him. You attach yourself to Taylor Swift. You don't need to do anything now to be followed, for people to think you're interesting. Like, think about some of the celebrity stuff that makes it into the paper. So-and-so went to the grocery store. Like, that's a headline.
But I give Travis,
you don't have to do anything anymore to just be famous.
But I give Travis Kelce credit. He's not changed just because he's famous. He still plays the same exact way. He still celebrates exactly the same way. He hasn't toned it down. I'm actually watching this. He's got some Chad Ochocinco in it. I mean, he's out of control in the end zone. Not as creative as Chad Ochocinco, but I give him, like, wouldn't it be inauthentic if all of a sudden he became more conservative just because he's dating Taylor Swift? Wouldn't that be bad?
No, I have an idea for their proposal, but first, Dexter Henry is here. He's doing updates for us this morning. Hey, Dex.
Hey. All right, we're going to lead off with news from the world of baseball. According to court documents filed on Thursday, federal prosecutors disputed claims by Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter, Ippei Mizrahi, that he stole from the slugger to pay back massive gambling debts, saying that there was no evidence that he suffered from a gambling addiction before he started draining the Los Angeles Dodgers star's bank account. Now, Mizrahi is due to be sentenced on February 6th after his June guilty plea. Last week, he asked the U.S. District Judge for an 18-month sentence instead of the nearly 5 years the prosecutors are seeking. So, guys, how much time should Mizrahi do for stealing from his employer?
First off, though, that was always what I thought the crazy thing. When you ask, how did Shohei not know, right? He's claiming, the interpreter's claiming he's this degenerate gambler. He's betting. He's placing like over 100 bets a day, I think we saw the frequency. And it's on all different types of sports, like women's soccer, college soccer, and let alone the NFL and stuff like that. Yet never bet on the Angels. Sure. This doesn't come up in random conversation that you're like, yeah, that UCLA women's soccer match. Like, can you believe they lost 3-2 to Stanford? Like, just nothing. You spend 24 hours a day with this dude, driving him to the stadium, batting practice, in the dugout, eating meals together. and Shohei had no clue. He never said anything that would have tipped him off that he was betting.
Dude is locked in.
Never notice, hey, you're on your phone. What is that? What are you on there? The DraftKings account or whatever?
Right.
What we learned, by the way, is maybe drafting bad character guys in football, good. Bad character guys as interpreters, bad.
Yeah. Right. I'm sorry, he couldn't use DraftKings, right? Because I don't think you can use it in California. He was betting with the bookie.
I don't know. Shohei's won 3 straight MVPs. He hasn't suffered on the field.
He only lost, tens of millions of dollars?
$40 million.
Yeah, for sure. He's been going on the field.
Bad character, bad judgment. There's a lot of it to go around there.
I mean, maybe there was language issues. Could you buy that at least?
No, but he spoke Japanese.
Right.
Well, not with his bookies. I'm saying Ipe could have hit it in English, and maybe Shohei really doesn't understanding. I love this image. Sorry if you mentioned when they were in Korea and Ipe apologized to the whole team. Do you remember that?
In front of Shohei.
And Shohei was like, what? That to me is like a sitcom moment. Yes, I've been stealing money from Shohei. And Shohei's like, wait, you've been doing what? Wait, what's happening here?
That's how it played out.
What is this team meeting going on right now? So maybe Shohei was strangely oblivious to all this.
Well, the funny part is he goes, and then Shohei goes up to him and goes, I'm sorry, I think some of this is getting through. What's going on? He goes, I'll talk to you about it back at the hotel. I'd be like, no, we're talking about it now.
Right now.
Yeah. How would you deal with that situation when you find out your interpreter has been stealing millions of dollars from you? That's an awkward conversation.
Think so?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Can I tell you, I ran into an awkward conversation. I overheard someone's awkward conversation coming into the building
This is
today.
what you get for not minding your own beeswax.
I was walking into the building. That's it. I'll
Eavesdropping
tell you guys
Maggie.
about it in the next segment because it was so cringy, awkward. And I'm sure if you work in an office, you may have come across this as well. But go ahead, Dex.
Interesting. All right. In the association on Thursday night, the Lakers, they had their most lopsided victory of the season.
Koulibaly runs into Jackson Hayes and he blocks it. Here's LeBron to Vando. Slam dunk.
That's the Lakers radio network on the call. LeBron James dropped a dime to Jared Vanderbilt. King James scored 24 points, handed out 11 assists on the night. The Lake Show, they walloped the Wizards 134-96. Los Angeles has now won 5 of their last 6 games. And Andrew's boy, Bronny James, he got some burn on Thursday night.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Saw that. How about
I knew you would ask about it, so
Yeah.
I had to put this in here. 1 of 6 from the field, 2 points. Does Bronny James scoring 2 points still excite you, Andrew?
Well, he got did he get an and one or something? Well, he got 2 points. So
2 points.
He didn't make the free throw. He had a highlight last night and apparently got a standing ovation.
He's
yes, he
1
got-
of 6 again.
Was
got
that for
MVP
coming in the
chance.
game?
MVP chance.
He got MVP chance at the free throw line. Yeah, I did see that clip, but if he ended up with 2 points, I guess he
he
didn't.
missed the free throw.
Wow.
He's shooting. Want to hear his season shooting percentage?
God, please.
9.1%.
That's your boy.
Is that bad?
Manny, get on
Why
my
can't the
brain.
guy hit a shot?
Because he's not a bad
He
character
scored
guy.
31 in the G-League.
He's too good of a dude. You nailed it,
No,
Dex.
we decided basketball. I'm just talking about football.
Just football.
Yeah,
I mean,
Perloff only
football-
wants a team of red flag wearers, holders,
Football
whatever.
is a
for
sport where you say hike and everybody tries to kill each other. You want saints in football? No, you want guys who are on the edge. Basketball, you need more control. Bronny apparently does not have enough control to actually hit a shot. What is going on with this dude?
Hey, he's the guy you wanted to see on the court. You were so excited to see him on the court.
I am. I think, but actually, if he's shooting
That's a
9%,
lie.
is he going to go down as the worst player in NBA history? I mean, I don't even think there's a close second. No one's ever shot 9% from
I
the
watched
field.
Lou Amundsen play 82 games a season. For
That
the
dude,
Knicks.
that dude
hair.
could drop
Lou
30
Amundsen.
on a night.
When?
the Norwegian League,
I am
wherever he
still
came from.
waiting for that 30-point game.
I mean, I got to imagine if Bronny gets enough minutes, he'll have the lowest shooting percentage in the history of the entire league. I mean, I don't think anyone's even close.
I got to look up, though, what that is. Now I'm intrigued to look that up.
How could you possibly shoot lower than 9%?
Well, anyone who shoots 9% isn't supposed to be in the NBA. That's the
Yes.
whole thing about
Yeah.
this.
Yes, but they're not named LeBron James like their dad.
Junior.
This is
Yeah.
what you wanted, Andrew. This is what you wanted.
Why do you keep blaming this on me?
Oh,
Dexter?
it's totally your
Were you
fault.
here one day when I was pro Bronny?
Yes, I was.
Thank
Yes, I
goodness
was.
Dexter's coming with the receipts because we do a lot of shows together. It just kind of all melds in.
Wow.
One day bleeds into the next. Now Dexter's coming
Yeah,
with
Pro
that.
said he was going to shed a tear when Bronny took the court with
It was a
LeBron. and
special
we
moment.
won.
Special moment.
Now
That being
it's tears
said,
because he
Kelce's
bet on
proposing.
Bronny's over 2 points a game.
in the year 2020, is there anything more interesting to talk about NBA than Bronny James? It feels like it's the only headline I've heard in the last 2 weeks.
You're not
I
serious.
would love to
sorry.
talk about anything else.
What else is going? Name a headline that anyone cares about. If I walked into a crowded room of sports fans and I say, I have in one hand Bronny James results, on the other hand the New Orleans Pelicans results, they're going to want to hear about Bronny.
New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
the
come
Pelicans.
on,
That's
It's not a fair fight.
If you said like Jimmy Butler trade rumors, then you know.
Oh God, those.
Yeah.
Wait, let me guess. Jimmy Butler trade rumors. That's only been beat to death as a headline for 6 weeks.
And Bronny James has not been beat to death. Yes.
I'll put Bronny. Power rankings of things that are boring. I'll put that ahead of Jimmy Butler. Oh, that's one of the worst stories I've ever heard in my life. That is a story that has not gone anywhere forever and ever. I hate the Jimmy Butler story. He's been suspended 3 times. Just cut him, for God's sake. Do
I'll
something.
have some more Jimmy Butler stuff for you later. You're going to hate it.
Just going to hold on to that.
Don't
You're
even
gonna
bother. Just
hate
call
it.
me Thursday at noon when he gets traded, Dexter. Don't even bother.
Dexter, thank you so much. Coming up, I will detail the awkward moment that I witnessed in the hallway of this building. And if you've ever seen one of these moments in your own workplace, you know exactly how it is. Just, I felt bad for both people. I was like, neither one of you wanted this to happen. But yet here we are. Get to that in a minute. 855-212-4227. You can weigh in on Travis Kelce saying he loves being the villain and would proposing to Taylor Swift be the best idea or worst idea he's ever had. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We got into this topic of whether or not Travis Kelce would propose to Taylor Swift if he won the Super Bowl. Because little did we know, you love this idea, Pearl.
I just think it'd be amazing. I mean, it'd be the most memorable proposal in the history of the United States without even a close second. The number one pop star.
The second would be the guy at the Fiesta Bowl who did this for Boise State. Like, we already had it.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't Taylor Swift on the other end. Oh. That's the Taylor Swiftness of it all takes it to a new level. And also, that was a bowl game. It wasn't even the national title game. And this is the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but it's kind of a cheap copy in some ways.
Oh, no way. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. What was that? Was it Ian Johnson? Was that the player?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. And
yeah, that was amazing. I was a huge fan of that. So why not go back to that well?
Okay. Well, I don't think it's going to happen. We have a poll out there for you. Would it be the coolest thing or the corniest thing? You can go vote at Maggie and Pearl. I do have a good idea for Travis if he does want to propose.
He's pretty corny, by the way. This would not be a surprise.
And I also have to detail the awkward encounter that I witnessed in the hallway between two other colleagues. And it was, I'm cringing for both of them. Kevin is in Oregon. Hey, Kev.
Hey, I'll tell you what. If I was Taylor Swift, I would rather have a colonoscopy and a root canal at the same time rather than have him propose to me in public like that. That's embarrassing. That's like high school or college stuff. It's ridiculous.
I agree. I mean, I don't know about the colonoscopy crossed with the root canal, Kev. It's not that bad, but I don't think that she would like it. I don't.
No, she would hate it. That's the best part, too. Just Travis, you think you're the world's biggest pop star. I'm going to embarrass you, and we're going to laugh about this later. It feels like a great practical joke, too.
I know. See, I think there are guys who love to, before they do something big and that a woman likes, they kind of like to agitate her a little bit. I've noticed there's some guys who do this, want
to mess with you a little bit.
Want to mess with you, and then, here's the big reveal so you can't be mad. I just want to, it still takes women a little bit to get over that.
But it's kind of
you can't just switch your emotions. We're not like men like that. We can't just turn it off and turn it on.
Yeah, like you would do to a friend, like hazing a friend a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the tact you want to take when you're about to ask her to marry you.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Is there any romance to this? This is the biggest moment of his life. He just three-peated as a champion. First team to ever do that in the Super Bowl era. And in that moment of joy, he wants to share it with the love of his life. I think there's some. I probably would cry.
It kind of makes it a little too much about him, though. No. Anyway.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's do it at the Grammys then. I mean,
that would also be terrible. Okay. So I have an idea of where they should do it, but let me just tell you what happened that I witnessed in the hallway because I'm curious if anyone else has ever had this, and if you work in an office at all, maybe you've seen something like this. So I'm walking in the office. It's 5:00 in the morning. And I walk through the doors and I'm kind of going towards where our sports talk radio side is. And there's on the other side of the hall is news. It's 1010 Wins, legendary news station. So there's a whole bunch of very serious news people on one side and then us, the sports slobbering dogs, on the other side. So all I can hear, I can't see these people, but it's clearly a man and a woman who know each other who work on the news side. And for some reason, they greeted each other and started doing it in a British accent.
Oh.
Someone's well, good morning, Governor. Like, they're not British at all.
Hello, Maggie.
It was just kind of reminded me of Perloff's camp. And then the other person, like, answered it, was also like, well, good morning to you, sir. I'm like, what do you got? What happened here?
Sounds like a sitcom, like The Office.
I don't know why they talk to each other in a different accent.
Sounds like Michael Scott and Dwight.
It was a man and woman, though. And, like, one person
Hello,
started
Governor.
it, and then the other person did it, too. And I'm like, is this something you do? Or did someone just like, top of the morning, Governor?
Sometimes my accent gets confused. British
who also reminds me of
that actually sounds
the dad in Modern
Indian.
Any Modern
Now
Family
I'm all
fans
over
on
the
that side of the
place.
glass? It's a dad in Modern Family does that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, people do this.
Yeah, it's funny.
Andrea does this with one of her friends.
But they're both in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a nerdy kind of.
Yeah. I get if you're in on it with a friend, but, like, I think one person just did it, and the other person was like, I'm doing it.
Maggie, you witnessed an actual living The Office, the real, like, that's The Office.
Mm-hmm. And it was, I felt so bad for both of them. It didn't occur to me. It didn't feel like a good morning, jolly good, like that they have this act. It was just like one guy was like, good morning. What are you doing here, Governor? And they're like, good morning. It was awful. I can't even retell it.
You're Pam now. You're Pam in The Office watching Michael Scott do something embarrassing.
I'm dying for both of them. How do you go back and work with that person? By the way, they're doing serious stuff, not like us. Like, we're just joking around for 4 hours and, like, talking about Saquon Barkley.
Should we do the rest of the show in an accent?
Please, no.
My name is Jeff.
Don't do it, Manny.
My name is Jeff. Okay, I think me saying that you want to draft low character guys was a little contrarian. I think me saying Travis Kelce should get on one knee after Super Bowl, a little contrarian. I think you're on an island here. Like, everyone's here like, can you believe this crazy thing? Like, this sounds like a cute little office exchange. Why did this bother you so much? What is this? This seems like the worst thing that any two human beings could do in front of you, Maggie. I expected them to do something a lot worse.
No.
It's just like a little hello there.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
I think I have a more awkward story.
Someone in this office?
It's not in this office, but in my other office at school. I went to pick up some equipment, and the guy who works there, his sister went to my high school.
Okay, so you know each other.
Yeah, well, like, we're acquaintances.
Sure.
So after he gives me the equipment, I'm like, hey, how's Sam? And he looks at me with this befuddled face. And I'm like, did I get his sister's name wrong? Like, what is going on? He's like, how do you know my sister? And then I had to convince him that, hey, like, my sister, like, your sister went to my school. Like,
you had never talked about this before?
We did. We talked about it, but we haven't talked about it in years because, like, I don't bring up his sister every time I see him.
Sure.
But I thought it was a nice gesture. Instead, we had to do this 1 minute, like, of, like, that is your sister's name, right? And I promise I'm not being weird. Like, I know who she is, but also that was more awkward than this, I think.
Well, that's just weird. The guy suddenly got amnesia?
Is he a football player? Some concussion stuff?
Maybe. I don't know. I love Eric. No, he just forgot that I knew his sister. He forgot my entire story. Apparently, he should have known I'm also from Queens. I went to that same high school. He forgot all of this.
Maybe he thought you were someone else. It's possible.
But the thing is, though, if I say, how is Sam, why did you look at me like weird? Like, that is his sister's name.
It is weird.
Maybe because you're a jerk. Is it that?
No, me and Sam were cool.
Not you. No, this guy sounds like
No, Eric is the nicest. That's why it was so weird, because he's the nicest man.
There's no evidence to point that out. He sounds like a jerk.
Wait, can we get the most awkward thing that's ever happened in your office? This is not the most, I get it. Witnessing two people put on accents
but
to say good morning
it feels
to each
like
other.
This really hurt you.
Deep
to your soul.
I'm dying for both of them. You might as well just take the rest of the day off.
Hello, Maggie.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
As we march closer to the Super Bowl, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. This is a tough question I don't think has an answer. And Pearl, you might have to almost recuse yourself from this conversation, but I'd love to get your thoughts on it nonetheless. Who's got the better Super Bowl fan base, the Chiefs or the Eagles?
Well, define better. Just give me a couple parameters.
Well, you
here.
Define it how you want to define it.
I mean, the Chiefs fan base is awesome. There's no doubt about it. They are one of the most loyal, longtime fan bases. They know football. The Eagles fan base is it's their 31 fan bases, and then there's the Eagles fan base. They're a different entity. They can't be measured against other fan bases. A, they're the most knowledgeable fan base. B, they're the most aggressive.
I mean, says you.
Oh, I mean, they call it the WIP, and honestly, they would put Ben Johnson to shame. The X and O knowledge on Philadelphia, it's not even close. I mean, I live here in New York. Like the depth of knowledge about like X's and O's in Philadelphia, just to even get on WIP, you have to basically know how to run a West Coast offense. I am not that is unquestionable.
All right. I mean, it's still your opinion.
Yeah, but I would say
it is questionable.
There's other people say like, "Whoa, the Eagles fan," like because it's such a one sport town. Like, there's nothing but football. Nobody really cares about the Sixers or the Phillies. There are some Flyers fans. It's very intense, the scrutiny on the Eagles.
Can you put that as a poll, EJ? Are the Eagles fan base the smartest fan base?
No, not the smartest. Are they the most football knowledgeable?
Football knowledgeable.
But yeah, I think
does everyone know that?
I don't know if everyone knows that, but like, I mean, you listen to WIP for an hour, and it's like, what is going on here? It's always like that.
I definitely ask myself what is going on here, but it's not usually because I've listened to some amazing football takes.
They're just like they talk about football way more in depth than most cities. It's just the way it is.
This is okay. This is your word against nobody's sitting around listening to every sports talk radio show all through the country. But let's not get mired down in the details. Okay, so you think that because the Eagles fan base is football X's and O's knowledgeable
and incredibly loyal and incredibly invested, yeah.
But the Chiefs fan base is also incredibly loyal and incredibly invested.
Yeah. The thing about the Chiefs fan base is a Midwestern fan base, so they're a lot nicer than the Eagles fan base.
Yeah, that could be a positive, you realize.
No, I love the Chiefs fan base. That's why I didn't want to say immediately the Eagles. I think the Chiefs fan base is one of the great fan bases in NFL history. I have a really good friend who is a Chiefs fan, and man, he travels with the team, like he knows everything. But the one thing is they're just very different styles. The Eagles fan base is very aggressive and mean towards the opponent.
Yep.
The Chiefs fans are not like that. They just love their team.
Right. Okay. So if you were, let's say, you're wearing Dallas Cowboys gear walking into Eagles Stadium, you've got to expect that you are probably going to get harassed. Okay? Like harassed.
Right.
If you wore a Raiders gear going into Arrowhead,
I would imagine you'd be okay.
Right. I think that gives the edge to Kansas City. I think that is a positive. There's a lot of things I like about the Philadelphia fan base. I sit next to you, obviously, every day. I recognize your passion. I have a lot of family members that are in part of the Eagles fan base, and they're great. I think the aggressiveness and the angst and the hatred towards other people, I don't see that as a positive. I see it as lame.
Mad.
You know, you guys don't care, but I see it that way. It feels like a little younger brother, something to prove, like overcompensating for something. Like, why do you have to be so mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a point of pride. It goes back. It's not just about the Eagles. It's the whole city. In hockey, the Broad Street Bullies,
Sure.
There in the 90s, Buddy Ryan came along. It's just like, we are going to beat you up.
Yeah.
And we're going to follow you into the parking lot. I think this was a Buddy Ryan. We're going to follow you into the parking lot and beat you up too. Now, some of that got kind of ugly, but the dude put a bounty out on the opposing kicker. That is the coolest move of all time.
One of the most deranged.
Yeah, it was awesome. And Luis and Nejas deserved it, to be honest. No, I'm just kidding. I don't
He had it coming.
They were insane. It's always been over the top. They famously threw snowballs at Santa Claus. It's unique, and it becomes something. Yeah, does it cross the line at times? Yes, in a way that I don't like. Of course not.
Sure.
But I do think that there's a real sense of humor behind it too. Like they're kind of like trying to creatively be mean.
You think there's like a wink and a nod?
Oh yeah.
Is everyone else aware of this wink?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, like this is. Have you ever seen the movie? It gets violent and terrible, like Silver Linings Playbook, where they have the big fight. But there's also just like, there is something kind of cool about it. Like it's a point of pride, and you don't think that they laugh at all this stuff. It's very, very funny.
Listen, I wouldn't have known it unless I've seen it close up, which is members of my extended family who have Ivy League degrees just getting into fistfights with Dallas Cowboys fans at these games. I'm like, you're an upstanding citizen. Like you are, not that you have to go to an Ivy League school to be an upstanding citizen. You know what I mean? You have like, clearly you're smart. You understand there could be consequences to this. Like you're not blind to that. And they will fight a Dallas Cowboys fan and just like be in the jail under the stadium for a while, like detained. Like,
yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
You're like a regular, normal person. What?
Wait. They really to go to that jail, you have to be really bad.
They didn't actually go to the jail, but they definitely got detained.
Yeah. There's
more than once.
Do you ever see Abbott Elementary? You guys ever seen that show, Hot Show on ABC?
Yep.
They had a crossover episode with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia this season. It was really funny, but they all greet each other, the cast of the two shows, and they all say, hi, nice to meet you. Go Birds, go Birds, go Birds. It's the new handshake in Philadelphia.
It's like saying Roll Tide.
It's very much like Roll Tide. So I just think the identity of a city is so tight. Isn't that a positive that fans embrace this one team so much? I think you could argue if you didn't hate the Eagles fan base, you would respect how much they love their team.
I don't respect the violence and the harassing people. But again, I think this does happen in all different places, but they feel like a couple bad apples. Like I'm saying, something happens when you put on that Kelly green and you walk into that stadium, and I just said it, like people in my extended family who become totally different people.
It's mob mentality.
Right. Like I don't know, and to be fair, I've been to the Chiefs, I've been to Arrowhead. I've been there to do interviews with Len Dawson and Willie Lanier and Jan Stenerud, and they were fantastic. I've had a good time in Kansas City. We were there for the draft. I've never been to a game, though, so I can't say specifically about a game, but I don't think they're being intentionally rude to people like Philadelphia.
No,
prides itself on being.
Nobody's like that except Philadelphia.
Yeah, right. So I think that knocks them down a peg.
There's some other nasty fan bases, but they wear that nastiness as a point of pride.
Totally.
Like, honestly, everything you say about them, like Philadelphians, if you take that all as a compliment.
You're all hopped up on Cheese Whiz. 855-212-4227. Who's got the better fan base, Eagles or
Would you rather be the Chargers, where 75% of the crowd is wearing the other jersey? I think it's the worst kind of fan base where the team's not invested.
I feel bad about that because I think Charger fans actually were very supportive and rabid about the team, and the team basically did everything they could to push them away.
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't take care of their fans.
I think you can simultaneously be the best fan base and the worst fan base. But as far as invested, they're definitely in the top 5 in the NFL. I think Packers fans live and die with the team. I think Chiefs fans, Raiders fans, Steelers. I think there are certain fan bases that just are all about their team. I don't know if the Cowboys are like that anymore, because the Cowboys fans, Jerry has been pointing out, I feel like they've lost a little interest. Like they're not as intense anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure Brian Schottenheimer is going to bring them all back to the Star.
And even Seattle, the ultimate Seattle fan base, there were reports this year that there are a lot of road jerseys in Seattle. So
that's kind of sad, too, because the 12th man was a real
all
thing.
Time.
Yeah.
All time. And I'm sure it still is. A little bit of a playoff or, success drought there. I think if you're going to measure a fan base by loyalty and investment in the team, the Eagles cannot be beat.
855-212-4227. Literally a fan base that goes by the mafia, and yet the Eagles fan base are the ones that are more violent. Put that together. Okay, quickly, Jeff is in Tucson. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Maggie. How are you?
Fantastic. What's going on?
So we're going to talk about, I'll weigh in on the fan base thing. The Eagles fan base is really aggressive, and Perloff brought up about the Santa throwing, so I remember that. Santa snowballs.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing I want to bring up is Perloff, I'm sorry, but I don't normally agree with you, and I apologize for doing this, Maggie. But I do agree with him about the marriage thing, and I'm going to share one story.
Okay, sorry. For the audience that's just joining us, Perloff thinks it would be beyond cool if Travis Kelce proposed to Taylor Swift if they win the Super Bowl. I think the rest of us on the show think it's kind of lame. Okay, Jeff, go ahead.
So I'm an older gentleman, and I remember the Jan Stenerud era.
Yep.
But I will say that the reason I feel that's a cool thing to see on national TV is because my wife and I were married on a riverboat in Laughlin, Nevada. So after the marriage ceremony, my wife turns around and, the kiss the bride, everything happened. And my wife yells out, "Oh, I was married on a riverboat." And it was one of her dreams. So I just wanted to share that was one of the coolest moments in my life, obviously, because I got married 48 years ago. And I just think that Perloff, it is the coolest thing to watch that. And that would bring in, Maggie, all the women fan base that do watch the Super Bowl. Don't you think that would increase afterwards?
You know, Jeff, it's a great point, and congrats, 48 years of marriage. That's fantastic.
That's
That's
awesome,
something
dude.
to be celebrated.
Awesome.
And your wife wanted the riverboat wedding, and you gave it to her, and I love those kind of stories. That's great. Yeah, the Swifties are going to be into it because they think Taylor's like this really hard luck and love kind of, like she's kind of been the victim this whole time, and these guys keep doing these things to turn her off and break up with her or whatever. And so she'll finally have found love. So I think the Swifties would be like into it, but I don't think women really want that.
I thought, I mean, I don't know, maybe I don't know women as well, but I thought like the dream of every woman was to marry the high school quarterback and be sort of in his glow of football excellence. As a direct shot at the feminist side of Maggie's like,
Oh, like, well, I mean, I could see it.
And by the way,
It's one outcome.
Yeah, believe me, there was yeah, you say it's not like that, but trust me, in high school, there was no girls who wanted to date the math nerds over the high school football quarterbacks. There is this thing about, it's interesting about Taylor reliving her high school years by dating Travis.
She is absolutely living this out. It's one of her songs.
Yeah, it's very funny to me that she missed all that, but she was off touring the world as a recording star at age 16, I believe. So now she's kind of reliving this. I wonder if she'll get tired of that.
Have you ever heard of a theory about fame where the person at the age you get, I don't know if this is true, but it's a theory. The age you get famous is kind of like the last age you stop. I don't want to say developing. That's really pejorative. But that's sort of your age.
Yeah, there's a saying. A lot of people say the first time you find drugs or alcohol, boom, you stop maturing altogether there.
Oh, is that a thing too? Okay.
When you basically start partying at age 13, it's over.
That's a little young.
14, whatever. But yeah, I totally get that. It makes 100% sense because you're not in reality anymore. Poor guys like Justin Bieber, like they don't have a chance to grow up naturally.
Yeah, I think about this with athletes sometimes. We identify some of these athletes as being the next thing so young in their lives. Like, does it...
They've been having everything handed to them. They have no idea how to get through anything.
It's weird. But anyway, I think that maybe there's part of it where, yeah, she's still like living out this high school fantasy. No doubt. I think that's part of it. But I did come up with a better idea for Travis. Better idea. Now, you're dating a billionaire, so you're not going to outspend her. And trying to is probably going to look a little forced. You got to go sentimental, okay? And not the Super Bowl where everybody like smells like BO and you know, there's Gatorade all over the place. Taylor Swift, I believe I'm right about this, grew up on a Christmas tree farm. Am I right?
She has a song about it that I had to listen to over and over again over Christmas, so yes.
Rural Pennsylvania, Christmas tree farm. I mean, is this not already like a Hallmark kind of thing? You've got to like probably, I don't have like the details here, but I think it's got to happen at like her childhood home in the Christmas tree farm, something. Like that's got to be the venue, not the Superdome, which I don't think she has any connection to whatsoever, except for their boyfriend.
Christmas tree farm. Oh, that's so nice. Is this a Hallmark movie, Maggie?
Yeah,
this
it is.
So boring. Come on.
What is romantic about the Super Bowl, Perloff?
Everything. There's confetti.
There's chicken tenders and wings
there's
and
Gatorade.
nachos.
Hell yeah. And actually, you know what would be even better? After she says yes, her friends, Blake Lively, pours Gatorade on her.
Just take whatever was left that Andy Reid didn't have soaked up in his Hawaiian shirt or whatever he's wearing under there.
You know, the tricky thing, though, is if in reality, and we're kind of having fun with this, if Travis Kelce did want to do it, what if they lost? You can't do it after a loss. That's bad. That's bad mojo for the rest of your marriage.
Do it at a Christmas tree farm then.
Yeah, exactly. You have to like curate things a little more. You don't have Creed Humphrey farting in the background. You know what I'm saying?
What a stray at Creed Humphrey.
I'm just saying.
By the way, I don't know if there are a lot of people around, a lot of mics. I don't know if Creed Humphrey's going to let one rip in that particular moment. I mean, he is a center in the NFL, but
wouldn't a guy do it just to like? You're talking about like practical jokes, and this could be kind of funny. You don't think one of his teammates would just want to go over there and be like, right on the proposal?
We've had 58 Super Bowls. I don't remember anybody farting on the field afterwards. Or like, okay, it's not like Will Compton of Barstool. Like Jim Nantz hands you the mic. Excuse me for a second. I just put it down there. No, that has not happened. Travis Kelce, though, probably would be the first to do it.
Hello, friends.
I could have picked anyone on the offense.
No, Creed Humphrey was the right name.
Maggie anti offensive line hate happened.
Well, I mean, listen, offensive linemen are, they're cavemen.
I know, but Creed could be a gentleman. Like, he could be a nice guy.
All right, sorry. Mike Caliendo.
You don't want your interior linemen to be gentlemen. You want them doing what Maggie said. You want them to be.
I was just thinking who would be more like Jason. And would Jason fart? He would.
Yeah, he would, because he's a crazy man.
855-212-4227. Super Bowl proposal. Best thing that Travis could do, worst thing that he could do. By the way, they got to win the game.
By the way, after the Super Bowl, if I get down on the field, everyone's going to be following Mahomes and Kelce. I'm going to be following Creed Humphrey just to see what happens, to report back to everybody.
I thought
At your own risk.
Not following. Maybe I'll be in front of them.
You're going to follow people around and just start farting everywhere.
Yeah.
See if they might pick it up.
You might want to be down. Don't be downwind.
That would be really funny. Leslie Nielsen, the comedic actor, used to famously bring a fart machine to all his interviews and stuff. If I just... they after the game, they have these little podiums where the guys do interviews.
Yeah.
I could just sort of sneak up there with my little tape recorder and put a fart machine and like Juju Smith-Schuster be like, yeah, and then I did cut left and it'd be amazing.
By the way, I challenge anybody, watch one of those Leslie Nielsen interviews, the late Leslie Nielsen, where he's at a late night show or whatever, and he starts farting and saying, excuse me. And try not to have tears just streaming down your face.
Yeah.
It's the height of comedy. But keep listening to our show for the next hour and 45 minutes. 855-212-4227, and then do it. Nick Costos is going to join us. We're going to run through all the Super Bowl props and all the betting angles for the big game. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
weekly Super Bowl heroes and NFL.
Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff show. A lot of talk about prop bets, Maggie. I read recently that, and that maybe this is the history of betting, prop bets have always been a thing for the Super Bowl, and now they're for every week, big across the country. But the level of prop bets for the Super Bowl are crazy right now. I've seen things that I couldn't even have imagined before, and I can't wait to throw away some money on them.
Well, let's not assume that it's getting thrown away. Let's welcome in our pal Nick Costos, the host of You Better You Bet. Nick, we're excited. We're going to be seeing you in New Orleans. This is all really, really fun. Good morning. How's it going?
Awesome. Great to be on with you guys. Can't wait to see you in New Orleans in a couple days.
I know. It's going to be fantastic. I have major prop bet questions for you. But before we get to that, just quickly, I think we'll probably make our pick for this game next week. We want full injury reports. We want full, as close to the game as possible. But are you surprised that the line has stayed consistent at Chiefs favored by 1.5?
I'm not. And I do think it's an interesting answer to the question because, these two teams played a couple years ago, right, in Super Bowl 57. And Philly closed a 2.5-point favorite in that game 2 years ago. And I don't think there's any question that this Eagles team, and Perloff, you're an Eagles fan, curious if you agree, this Eagles team is better than that Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. I think this Eagles team is better, is more talented 1 through 53, Hurts with a couple more years experience. And I think there's no question about this. The 2024 Chiefs are not as good as the 2022 Chiefs. And despite that, the Chiefs are now favored in the game and are my guess is maybe this closes a pick'em, but I don't think Philly is closing the favorite here. And obviously it's because of Mahomes, because we've now seen Mahomes win another 2 Super Bowls. And I think people are kind of scared by the boogeyman, Patrick Mahomes. So no, I'm not really surprised that the line has remained what it is. Philly's probably honestly a little better than Kansas City as a team, but Kansas City has Patrick Mahomes. Ergo, you get Kansas City as a favorite under 3. I think this is where we'll remain until kickoff. Maybe the game closes a pick'em, but I guess you could maybe see Philadelphia -1, but we're basically talking the same bet here. Kansas City 1 to Philadelphia 1.
Well, I think, remember the last Super Bowl, they looked so ferocious defensively against the Niners in that game where they knocked Brock Purdy out.
They looked ferocious. Brock Purdy got hurt, and then Josh Johnson had to come in.
But and the game before
he got knocked out.
And this is actually not a shot at your Giants, but the defense was smoking hot coming into that Super Bowl. And it's
the Giants were
right
pathetic in that game. It was really bad. The Eagles defense,
pretty hot right now. But that was a good defense.
Console.
It was old and slow. I didn't know it at the time, but that defense came in pretty optimistic. So I remember, I feel like this particular team is kind of untested after seeing the Commanders, the Rams on a snowy field, and the Packers with a beat up Jordan Love. Even as an Eagles fan, I'm not quite sure. I don't know how they match up against this is the best team they played in the playoffs by far.
I think their defense is awesome. I said it going into the playoffs. This is the best defense left standing in the NFL. The best defense in the NFL, period. And I think a lot of credit, Perloff, goes to Howie Roseman. I think he's the best GM in all of sports. The way he's able to reload every single year. This roster's a freaking Ferrari, dude. It's sick. It's sick. They have awesome players. I think this defense is better than the one 2 years ago.
But they did have... They prime Bradbury and prime Slay. We didn't know Bradbury was terrible at the time.
Bradbury.
He had a great year.
Who's better, Quinyon Mitchell or Bradbury?
At the time, I mean, Bradbury proved a lot in the NFL. He was a really good player. We're just using...
Yeah, he was a good player. He was a good player with the Panthers, and he was okay with the Giants. He was okay with the Eagles.
And Slay a couple years ago was a force. But anyway, I hear you. Yeah. I think you're doing a little revisionist history because they got torched in that game by Mahomes.
Wait,
but
hold on.
Regardless,
but getting torched by Mahomes is like, I mean, they scored 35, they let up 38. Like, you're playing the great Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I wonder about, is Howie Roseman the best GM in sports? I think Brett Veach probably, even just in his own sport. Okay. The Kansas City Chiefs GM, because they get rid of anybody. They let Tyreek Hill go, L'Jarius Sneed go, and they don't miss a beat. Anyway, let's talk more betting stuff with you. Nick Costos here from You Better You Bet, and we've got fun stuff for you too. We mentioned that the spread has not changed. That has stayed at 1.5, Chiefs favored. The total, though, has changed. It has come down. People betting the under, it seems like pretty significantly, Nick. It's now sitting at 48.5. I believe it opened at 49.5.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm seeing a 49.5 right now at BetMGM. So I guess like it depends. If you like the under in the game, BetMGM's your home to make that bet. Yeah, and moves like this do matter. And just like, and I'll summarize this very briefly. Over the course of a regular NFL week, like limits don't go up until the end of the week. Like, what does that mean? It means like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when you place a bet, you can only place X amount of dollars because sportsbooks are waiting like to find out what the actual line is of the game. Like bettors tell them what the line should be. Injury reports come out. And then once the sportsbook feels like it has the right line for the game, limits skyrocket. And then you could bet, not that you would do this, you could bet like $1 million on the game if you wanted to, closer to kickoff. The Super Bowl, they're looking to get the right line up very quickly. So limits are very, very, very high immediately. So when there's a move, even early in the process, it's a meaningful one. Mm-hmm. Now, we are not at any key numbers yet, Maggie. So when we're talking about key numbers in the 40s with totals, and this does not have to be a math thing. I'm literally just going to tell people this is what matters. These three numbers, 41, 44, and 47. So 49.5 to 48.5, like it matters. It means there's interest in the under, but like we're not down to a key number. We're like not down to 47. We're not even down to 48. So I would say that this is just some interest in the under. I would not describe it as like overwhelming interest in the under. I think a big move will be more likely to come like next Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the game next Sunday.
What do you think of the logic that this could be an overtime game? Because I think it's going to be I think a lot of people think it's going to be a close game.
What do you think the logic is?
Well, I want to pick the over because I think there's a great chance it goes to overtime. I really do. I don't know why I feel in my bones. Yeah, I think because last year too, what was the final total last year? It was 25-22 was the final score.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But it was right around 47 and a half. I just could picture somebody losing. I could picture Maggie losing a bet because it goes under and then it goes to overtime. Yeah. We were talking about that. Is that the worst way to lose a bet?
I've done it multiple times this season. But you have 2 overtime Super Bowls and 58 Super Bowls.
But they're both recently, to be fair, both in the last decade.
That's true. I mean, Perloff, you could probably just bet going to overtime if you really think, as opposed to the over or anything like that. Just bet the game to go to overtime is going to be
that
your
will
best
definitely
value.
be offered. You can definitely bet the game to go to overtime before it starts. And there were also, like, I bet on Sunday during the AFC Championship game. I lost, but I had a live bet on the game going to overtime in the second half, which lost, but it was like a pretty big plus money. I felt like it might. So you can bet this stuff during the game also. And obviously, like, please bet responsibly. Super Bowl MVP is another really, really fun market to bet live, like during the game.
Okay,
wow.
So tell us what the approach to that is. What, some guy has 2 interceptions and all of a sudden that's, it has to be something super big, because normally I feel like it's the quarterback.
So it's really difficult to price live in the moment. And I can just give, because, like last year was really fun. It was like Mahomes ends up winning, but Mahomes didn't really like secure MVP until like the drive and overtime to win. And then there was no doubt he was going to win.
Of course.
When he threw the touchdown pass to Mecole Hardman. Like, if Kelce catches the pass at the end of regulation, Kelce probably wins. If let's say that Kansas City doesn't send the game to overtime, who probably wins? Juwan Jennings.
Oh,
like Juwan Jennings would have won Super Bowl MVP.
He was amazing.
So Jennings just having this beastly game, and you literally, like, I have the market up on my phone, and I'm betting it. And as this is happening, his price is getting slammed. Everyone's betting him in the moment. I had Harrison Butker tickets early in the game when Butker was banging. Not that he was going to win. Not that he was going to win, but like, let's say George Karlaftis is, I'm making this up, 70-1, whatever. First drive of the game, strip sack Hurts, he picks it up, takes it in for a touchdown. Why wouldn't you bet that? Like live, and I'm not suggesting put your net worth on it, but like bet it at 70-1. Other people are going to do the same thing. Like now he can win. Not that he's going to. Like Mahomes will probably still win if the Chiefs win. But I mean, like once you get like that evidence, like something has happened where you can now create a case for this person winning, it becomes something that's, I think, like extremely fun. And again, like please gamble responsibly so you don't lose your shirt. But I had a ton of fun doing that last year during the Super Bowl.
I'm looking at the list of winners. There are a lot of non-quarterbacks. Cooper Kupp, Julian Edelman, Von Miller. So it does, Nick, you're looking at the odds. You have an early favorite of dark horse, somebody. I mean, obviously there's the live betting, but is there, how about Kelce, 18-1? Anybody who's jumping out as like somebody who might have a big game we might not have thought about?
Well, so I'll give you one for each team. I think if it's the Eagles, like A.J. Brown's number is 35-1. There's just, I'm not saying he's going to win. Like Saquon's the most likely player if the Eagles win, but I think Kansas City's going to score in the game. And like the Eagles defense is great. And that's not me talking out of both sides of my mouth. The Eagles defense can be great. And then they're facing Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid with 2 weeks to prepare. So I think the Chiefs are going to score. I don't think this is going to be a game where Jalen Hurts throws for 120 yards. Like that's not what this is going to be. Like I would be shocked if the game stayed here. Like this was Super Bowl 55 with like the Bucs and the Chiefs. When Tampa leaned on Kansas City's the offensive line the whole game and Mahomes kept getting put on his ass and the Chiefs were playing from behind the whole game. I don't think that's happening here. So if that's not going to happen and we're in like a neutral game state or the Chiefs are ahead, the Eagles are going to have to throw. Like they're not going to be able to do this like high Jalen Hurts, like put the straitjacket on him as he said. That's not going to be what this is. And I think A.J. Brown's the receiver best equipped to succeed. He's 35-1 right now at BetMGM. Find the best price, but A.J. Brown would be my choice there. And Kansas City is obviously really tough if you get away from Mahomes. It's hard to imagine anyone on offense winning if it's not Mahomes. So honestly, I would look to a player on defense. And I think you could take a look at Karlaftis, but the guy that I would look at, and I'll just make sure I get his price here, he's 66-1 at BetMGM, would be Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Who? Chris Jones. Dexter Lawrence had 3 sacks against the Eagles this year. Interior. Pass rusher up the middle. We know that Juergens and Dickerson both had some injuries that they were dealing with in the NFC Championship game. So I think if a Chiefs defender were going to win, I think this would be like a great capstone on this great run that the Chiefs have had if it culminates in a three-peat with Mahomes winning the first 3 MVPs and then like the best defensive player throughout the run winning the 4th. So again, like I think it's going to be Mahomes if the Chiefs win, but a longer shot for me would be Chris Jones.
Nick Costos joining us from You Better You Bet. He joins us every Friday. Okay, can we talk some prop bets with you? Are you betting? Let's go to some of your absolute faves. Like I'm looking at Jalen Hurts over 1.5 touchdowns is I think plus 500 or something. Like I love that. What about you, Nick? Give us the goods.
Yeah. I'll have my full prop menu like locked and loaded for next week.
Okay.
We'll roll it out on the show next week. But you know, I can. How about this? So yesterday on the show in the NBC Sports Now hour on Peacock, Femi and I gave our one favorite yardage prop for the game, and mine, and like it's already gone up a yard from yesterday. So just an overall like prop betting philosophy for the Super Bowl. And like if you're the type of person you want to bet like 10, 20 bucks, like whatever, it's like who cares? But like if you want to try and win, just think about this, right? AJ Brown's number yesterday was 68.5. Like it doesn't have to go over. I look at that number and I say, this is going to be 8 to 10 yards higher by the time the game kicks off. Because right, like what do people want to do? Like people generally want to bet overs. Like I like to bet overs. So the thought is always bet overs early with the Super Bowl and bet unders late. So, like, you could, if you wanted to, I'm not suggesting doing this, you could have bet A.J. Brown when I gave it out on the show yesterday, 68.5 over receiving yards. I mean, what's this going to close, 75.5? Like, there's no way the first number is a 6. There's no chance. And I think it might be like 75, 76, and you could middle it. I'm not saying do that. Like, I just want to bet the over. But I think that you'll get a pretty wide discrepancy from now to next week. So the one that I really like, the one that I look at and I think there's no way this number is going to be this is A.J. Brown. The number can't be a 6 in the Super Bowl. Not against Mahomes. I actually think it should be like high 70s, low 80s. It's 69.5 now. Nice. I'll go over A.J. Brown receiving yards. We can give the rest of the props out next week.
Okay. You know the one thing is Devontae Smith actually had the most receiving yards last time these two met in the Super Bowl. He was.
Yeah, would you like to guess his number?
I didn't even look at it.
63.
48.
Betting it right now.
You never know what Devontae Smith's going to do from week to week. Hey, the one thing about the Chiefs offense, last week I tried to convince you that Noah Gray was going to go over 1.5 catches, and you were nice enough not to laugh at me. But Noah Gray, I watched the Chiefs last week. All of a sudden, they're throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster every down. To me, Andy Reid is not giving away anything. He could go any of 10 different directions with this receiving core and these running backs. I find the Chiefs very unpredictable about prop bets and who's going to produce.
Well, I'll give you. I think it's a really interesting setup for a question. I think I have a pretty good answer for it. So the one thing that I'll push back on Perloff is the idea that Reid is holding stuff back, and I don't know if that was the exact verbiage that you used, but something to that effect, right?
Well, no,
is that fair to say?
Yeah, he is not. Basically, he has all sorts of options that we don't even know about yet.
Well, my thought would be is that you do that kind of stuff in week 11 against the Browns. Not like the AFC Championship game against the Bills. So I think we can look at what's happened in the first 2 playoff games and glean something from it. So there are 2 things specifically that I think have changed with the Chiefs offense. My expectation is that they will remain that way in the Super Bowl. Why would they change? I guess they could, right? Number 1 is the expectation was Isaiah Pacheco was going to come back and retake the number 1 running back job from Kareem Hunt. That has not happened. I don't know if Pacheco's still hurt because we watched Pacheco last year and he was awesome, right? He doesn't look the same. So he's probably still dealing with that broken leg that he suffered earlier in the year. Kareem Hunt objectively looks better and he gets the ball more. So not that Pacheco can't out-carry Kareem Hunt. I don't want to paint anything as a certainty, but I think, if you're betting, then I think the bet would be that Kareem Hunt's Kansas City's number 1 rusher. Mm-hmm. And the other one, you mentioned Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, this one's a weird one, right? Because when the Chiefs traded for DeAndre Hopkins at the end of October, it was okay, well, Hopkins is obviously going to be a huge part of this offense. He's not. The wide receivers are Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Juju is the 3rd receiver now. Mm. And Hopkins doesn't really play. And it feels based off things that he said, that he is okay with this minimized role because he's on a winner. And I don't know, Juju looked pretty good in the AFC Championship game. I mean, they could dust off DeAndre Hopkins and he could end up having a better than expected game, 4 for 50 or something, catch DeAndre Hopkins. But again, if you're betting on it, my bet would be Kareem Hunt is the number 1 running back. Juju plays over DeAndre Hopkins. So I don't want to say that they're hiding something for the Super Bowl because they needed to beat Buffalo to get here. And I think we can take something from that result.
So you still like Xavier Worthy? You liked him a lot last week and he obviously went over on everything.
Yeah. So Worthy, so it's the 2 guys that I rode throughout the playoffs and more so with Philly. So Worthy has been a guy that I like down the stretch of the regular season. He's at 54.5 right now. If I had to bet it, I'd probably bet the over. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. But Perloff on your team, and I bet this guy all 3 games in the playoffs. And since he came off of IR in Week 18 against the Giants, he has been an absolute monster, is Dallas Goedert. He's been great. Now, I was all excited yesterday because Femi and I, like I said, we're going to do in the Peacock Hour, which people can watch every day, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern. NBC Sports Now, it's awesome. We're going to do our one favorite prop bet. And I'm thinking, you know what? Why am I going to get away from Dallas Goedert? He's been amazing. And his yardage prop is 10 yards higher than it's been. So everybody knows now, secret's out.
Yeah.
Not that he can't go over again, but secret's out on Dallas Goedert now.
Nick Costos from You Better You Bet joins us every week. And yeah, you can watch on Peacock too. And it's fantastic. We love you. We love Femi. And we're excited that we're all going to be in New Orleans together. Last one for you, because Perloff's on an island here. What else is new? But he's on an island about Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor after the game if they win. Now, I'm assuming some offshore account is going to take a prop on this.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Is this the coolest wedding proposal or the corniest wedding proposal? By the way, you can vote on that poll at Maggie and Pearl on X.
Well, it's the coolest, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you win the Super Bowl and you propose to the most famous person in the world. I don't know. I choose not to be a hater here. And the mini version of this, obviously, which is still very cool on a smaller scale, was when Ian Johnson of Boise State proposed to the cheerleader after they ran the Statue of Liberty play against Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, which is pretty cool. Also, this is that on steroids. I think people can hate Taylor Swift. You can hate the Chiefs, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if he'd retire, but you win the first team in history to three-peat, which makes them the best team ever, if that happens, period. And then you propose to the world's most famous musician. Pretty cool.
That's a good day.
I choose not to be a hater.
That's a good day.
Wow, you and Perloff finally through all these months.
What's the argument against it, though? Like,
so
why would that be corny?
By the way, Ian Johnson already did it. So now you're just doing a knockoff. You think when Taylor finds out that someone did this in the Fiesta Bowl a decade ago that she's not going to be, like, upset about that?
But why
it's not special anymore.
Like, why is it corny?
Oh, come on. Like, it's not, first of all, it's not about her. It's all about him. Right? It should be about both of them. It should be about privacy.
True.
Well, she doesn't care. She's not getting into barroom debates about whether the Chiefs are the greatest dynasty of all time.
You don't know that. She seems to be pretty into it. I think there's a chance that Taylor's got like a burner account on Twitter or something. Oh, yeah. But I mean, like she's how many more times famous than him? 1 million times more famous than Travis Kelce? Yeah. You think it's going to be about him like for us? For 99% of the rest of the world, it's going to be about her.
Nick, thank you. Always appreciate it. And safe travels to New Orleans. We'll see you there, pal.
All right. Yeah, you guys also. Wishing you guys minimal sweats, winning bets. The absolute very best of luck. We'll have to get some beignets at Cafe Du Monde next week.
I know. And please tell me you're not betting on the Pro Bowl.
I don't even know. So, like, they had the skills competition last night. I was watching highlights. I didn't even know what was happening. So, yeah we're good.
Don't do that.
I had no idea.
Don't do that. Nick, thank you so much. Nick Costos, You Better You Bet. You can listen and watch every single day, BetQL Network, and also on Peacock.
You know, the Swifties, they didn't even know who Travis Kelce was. They definitely don't know who Ian Johnson was. So they're not going to.
Once they find out, they're going to be devastated.
I mean, I don't even know that they would understand what that was all about. The Statue of Liberty play? What's that?
Wait till they figure out Bronco Mendenhall. It's going to be, it's going to destroy everything.
No, I think they're good.
Okay. We've got a lot more to do, including, guys, tough day in sports. Lots of people being investigated here. No bueno. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Okay, lots to do. Mentioned you got some players in the news here for all the wrong reasons. One is Justin Tucker, the kicker for the Ravens, who has some serious allegations against him by 6 different massage therapists in the Baltimore area who are accusing him of being inappropriate and saying that he was banned from 2 different businesses, high-end spas. He's been banned. Now, he's come out with a full defense of himself, saying he was never banned. It's kind of like a he said at this point. No, the statute of limitations has run out on anything that could be criminal, Pearl, and it looks like even civilly, this could be a high bar to clear. This is stuff that happened early in his career. But the NFL could come down, and they can levy any kind of discipline, even if there's no charges filed. So we got a long way to go on this thing, but right now they are just allegations, and he's claiming innocence.
Well, it feels like the NFL has been cautious lately because I don't think they've moved on Rashee Rice yet because they're waiting for the legal process to play out. I imagine there's going to be some sort of lawsuit here because right now we don't have really anything under oath.
Right.
So I think the NFL is going to have some challenges here because they're not awesome at investigating on their own without help from the police.
No, and it's funny because it's all former law enforcement people who are doing this for the NFL, but it always seems like it can be a little clunky and a little haphazard.
Well, I mean, personally, I'm never comfortable with the idea of an employer doing like a quasi police investigation because then I think the employees' rights that's why you have a union. The employees' rights would be vulnerable to management. Like if I wouldn't want management investigating like us.
Something in your personal life.
Yeah, because unless, you would want the police to get involved. And that's why I think that a strong players union is important to have at least a balance here, but you never know, right? Like we know I've worked at the NFL and I know they brought in a lot of people, but still that is an uncomfortable place for them to levy. They always, they never get this right? It's a really hard thing for them to do. Yeah. That's why I do like when they do the exempt list. They're like, we have no idea what to do here. We're just going to put Adrian Peterson on the exempt list and just wait it out a little bit.
Dexter Henry is here with other headlines. That's really one of the biggest ones from today, and we'll see what happens going forward. Good morning, Dex.
Good morning, guys. We are less than a week away from the NBA's trade deadline. Golden State Warriors, they currently sit at a game over 500. They're also 11th in the Western Conference, and there's been a lot of chatter about getting another star to play with Stephen Curry. The Warriors, they've been linked to several players such as Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, and Jimmy Butler, an Andrew Perloff favorite. However, according to Yahoo Sports' Kevin O'Connor, when it comes to Butler, Curry and Warriors head coach Steve Kerr, they're concerned with Butler's fit with the team. I wonder why.
Why would that be?
Why would that be? Guys, is Butler a good fit for the Warriors to upgrade their roster?
I like it.
Bad character guy? That's why you like it?
No, I just think that...
Trying to keep the theme going. So.
Yeah, Perloff only wants people with red flags playing for his team. Now, to be fair about Jimmy Butler, all the red flag stuff is on the court.
No, I mean,
like his relationship with the facility, with the team.
Dude's a killer. I mean, he's just a killer, and I think that's a right team for him because
killer franchise.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's killing the Heat right now.
He's 35, right? Like he can't carry a team offensively like he used to. Man, I don't know. I love Jimmy in the playoffs. I have no problem with Jimmy Butler. The biggest thing the Sixers ever did wrong was choosing Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. It was
but
tragedy.
Here's the thing. Look at Jimmy Butler's history, right? Like, even if your Sixers had once upon a time picked him over Tobias Harris, he was going to do something to get his way out of town eventually.
Well, yeah,
it happened
2
in
trips to the
Minnesota.
finals would have been nice.
Well, I don't know if that was ever happening considering the state of Embiid's. And, you just have to be ready with Jimmy Butler. It's probably going to end badly.
Yeah, so this is a no for you, Maggie?
I just don't know if the Warriors are they one Jimmy Butler away?
I mean,
say no.
You're certainly closer with Jimmy Butler than without Jimmy Butler. I think, remember, I know they're not great now, but look at the Mavs last year at this point. Where were they? Were they barely above 500, I think?
Yeah, they were like 6th, 7th in the West before they made a rise.
The one thing that I do love about teams is if maximizing someone's career, right? So like Steph Curry is still a great player. Do you want to make sure you get every little last bit out of Steph Curry, and is this a way to do it?
Right, of course. But is that a rhetorical question? Why would you not want to get every last bit out of Steph Curry?
No, you do, but is Jimmy Butler the guy who's going to
And the other flip side of that is you mortgage your future, right? If you re-sign Jimmy Butler to an extension, now he's on a big contract at an advanced age. It's like you're trying to get the squeeze out of a juice that there's nothing there. Like they don't have a chance. That's the other side of that.
Oh, okay. So he definitely wants a...
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the issues in Miami is that he wants an extension.
He wants another. Listen, why wouldn't he? Paul George just got a ton of money. He's 35 from your Sixers. Of course, these guys think they continue to get paid. That contract was terrible the day it was signed.
Absolutely. There's also a basketball. I think there also is a beyond just personality. I think there's a basketball conversation about is Jimmy Butler a valuable piece when he's like your third option and he's a secondary guy? Because really, his best value has been when he's been the man, and we've seen where that gets you is to the finals, but you can't win. What is he if he's your secondary guy? Is he okay with that? Is he content with that? We don't really know.
I remember some games where the Sixers, you would not see him until the last 3 minutes of the game, and then he would just start running the floor harder than everybody. I don't know. I feel like the other thing, too, like the Warriors, you're saying Jimmy Butler's a malcontent. Like everybody falls in the line on the Warriors because you have Curry there.
I mean, how's Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green working out in that locker room? That's interesting for me.
I mean... What's our shelf life? Can we give it 6 months?
Is
this a 3-year project?
How about February to June?
That's all you're getting. I mean, when you're doing something like this, you got to think real short term, right? Real short term.
Extremely short term. Dex, thanks so much. We'll hear from you again next hour. We have our biggest bold prediction for the Super Bowl that has to do with the X's and O's. The on-the-field product. We'll get to that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Bold predictions for the big game. We got them. Maggie and Perloff. Talking about football, though, Pearl. I mean, anyone can do a bold prediction like, I think Travis Kelce will propose to Taylor Swift, something that we've been talking about a lot on the show today, whether that's cool or corny, and you can vote on that poll at Maggie and Pearl on X. But as far as X's and O's bold predictions, what is something that you think strategy-wise is going to play out on the field next Sunday?
So in the AFC title game, Travis Kelce had 2 catches. I think he is going to go to town in this game.
Really?
Because Zach Ertz, who's the other old tight end, just torched the Eagles. 11 catches, 104 yards. Whatever that level of the defense is, there's a hole there. And I think the Eagles have good cornerbacks. Maybe they put Beane on Travis, but generally, which would be a bad matchup for them. Generally, I think they're going to put their real talented players on A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And on Xavier Worthy and Juju or DeAndre. I think Travis is going to have a big game in the middle of the field right there.
Really?
Yeah. And also, too, like playoff Travis, we forgot. He always goes over his yardage total. And last week was such an aberration, a complete fluke. There's no way that lasts. I think he's going to have a great game. And the guy doesn't feel any pressure on the field at all.
You know, but to your point, you said even though he didn't have a big game, like in terms of catches and yardage, he was still blocking. He was still doing the dirty work, for a 10-time Pro Bowler and a 3-time Super Bowl champ. He was totally dialed in. maybe they feel like they got the winning formula now where they don't actually need Kelce to be this, crazy. Now against Houston, he went nuts, 7 catches, 117 yards and a touchdown. So it was really just against Buffalo that he had a bad game, like a low production.
I really basically saw Zach Ertz, who is like a light version of Travis Kelce. Ertz just seemed like a major problem. Like the Eagles had nobody could stop him. It wasn't killing them. And they don't mind. I don't think the Eagles mind that little 11-yard pass. They'll take that from Mahomes. They don't want to get beat over the top.
It's a good prediction. As Nick Costos, who joined us last hour, said, if you want to bet over props, bet them now. Wait for the under props. So you might want to get on a Kelce receiving mark.
Also, too, like if you're going to die on a prop bet, you might as well die on Travis Kelce. Because how many times has he won for us?
Oh, my gosh. I lost with him so many times this year, though. Travis Kelce, I got burned
playoff, but
so many
it's the
times.
Playoff Travis Kelce. It's not the regular season Travis Kelce.
Yeah. My big bold prediction in terms of X's and O's for the Super Bowl is going to be something Nick Costos touched on, but I was going to touch on it as well, I promise, which is I think you're going to have to see Jalen Hurts throw the football. Now, last week, 246 yards, but that was they hung 55 points on the Commanders. But before that, Pearl, 128 yards against the Rams in the snow. 131 yards against Green Bay, not a bad weather game. 108 yards against Carolina, 118 against Baltimore earlier this year, 179 against the Rams earlier this year. It's been a lot of yardage totals that start with ones, which is very rare for a quarterback of his caliber, right? And especially with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard. Like, it's odd that these yardage, it's not like they have no weapons.
Saquon's a pretty good pass-catching running back, too.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm anticipating that this is more of a Jalen Hurts game. I like the Jalen Hurts over 1.5 touchdowns prop. I respect the Chiefs defense a ton, but I think you are going to see, like, is the sleeping giant in this game Jalen, which is odd to say about a quarterback because Saquon Barkley is just getting so much attention, and rightfully so.
So can I piggyback off that?
Sure.
I think he's going to have a big game, but I do not think it will be with his arm. I think the fact that he looked so healthy and spry and was running at full speed in the NFC title game after being injured in the divisional game, I think, remember the Ravens-Steelers game in the playoffs? What did the Ravens do? They came out and they ran Lamar Jackson like crazy. I think the Eagles are going to call run plays for Jalen Hurts to try and control the ball. I think the reason that you see all these ones is the Eagles want to play conservative football. Why do you think they're their number one defense? Because their offense gets so many first downs. They're so well rested. I think they're going to play the ball control game. And I think the way to do that is obviously Saquon. We know about that. I'll bet you Jalen Hurts goes over on his rushing attempts because what does he have to save his health for?
Well, okay, but you just said it. Like, the knee looked fine last week.
Looked great.
But he has been compromised. You don't want to sacrifice him out there either because you say, well, what are you playing for? It's a 5.5 hour, 6 hour football game. The Super Bowl lasts forever.
Okay.
So you got a lot. Like, if you run him ragged in the first half, you don't want to be looking at Kenny Pickett with broken ribs / Tanner McKee in the second half. This Nick Foles isn't walking through that door.
I feel like Jalen Hurts on a design run is a little bit safer. The play he got hurt, he was scrambling. And actually, I'd have to look at the concussions. I don't think those were on design runs because he's a big slider. Mm-hmm. If he gets out, the play. It's an RPO. Basically, the whole defense is watching Saquon, and Jalen's going to run for 8 yards on first down. I think that's the kind of gains that the Eagles want here. They maybe take 2 shots at A.J. Brown, but I think they do not want to see Mahomes with the ball in his hand. So what's the best way to do that? Run your quarterback.
855-212-4227. Can I give you another X's and O's prediction?
Sure.
And it's something you've mentioned, but I want to bring attention back to it, which is your kicker stinks right now.
Yeah.
Jake Elliott, the kicker for the Eagles, has been terribly inconsistent this season. He's, 1 for 8 on field goals over 50 yards, hasn't hit a field goal over 44 yards in the playoffs, and 9 for 12 on extra points, guys, in the postseason. Extra points. Like,
terrible.
He can't hit the ocean from the beach right now. I think that it's going to cause Nick Sirianni or Kellen Moore or whatever, the offense, I think they're going to call the game very different. I know you have the tush push for short yardage, but I think even on 4th and 3, 4th and 4, you're going for it because you cannot lose the Super Bowl because of Jake Elliott. And we all know he's bad. So you can't even say, wow, the yips really just popped up, recently. He has been super dicey all season.
Yeah, I'm thrilled about this. because I love the aggressive fourth down. The 4th and 3, Jalen Hurts has been awesome. So here's the thing. You know he's bad, and you can play aggressively around it. And what happens, actually Washington was the king of this formula. What happens if you start making a bunch of 4th and 3s? You keep the defense off the field again. I think in a way this could help the Eagles in some bizarre way, right? Because they're going to keep drives alive. If they get down to the 40, it's a must go. A must go, which is probably the right analytic move. So I think the fact that you know about it already does not make it as much of a disadvantage. That maybe I'm convincing myself of that, but it's going to be like it's hard to get this Eagles. You have Barkley on one hand, and you have Jalen Hurts who's healthy. He's hard to get off on 4th and 2, and you got the tush push. I'm
just telling you from experience, you do not want to lose a Super Bowl on a kick.
Yeah, but they know that, so they're going to be going super aggressive on 4th down, so it's not going to happen.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, you know, game flow. Sometimes you have to ask the kicker to make a 47-yarder. I'm just saying, I don't envy.
Well, yeah, but
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
But you know, the Eagles know this very well. They've looked really good in this aggressive 4th down style. I don't know. I'm not that scared about it.
But you know, 4th and 5 is not a no-brainer. And the tush, when you take the tush push out, well, now it will be. But you take the tush push out. I'm not talking about 4th and 1. You guys have mastered 4th and 1 and 4th and 2, quite frankly. But I'm talking about 4th and 5, 4th and 6. This is where Harrison Butker and the Chiefs really have the advantage in the kicking game. I know it sounds crazy to be talking about that, but we're talking about bold predictions in terms of X's and O's for this game. And my bold prediction is that you are going to try to avoid Jake Elliott like the plague.
Yeah, I don't think the Chiefs trust Butker that much either. He's been pretty bad from 50+ this year.
Well, he's been hurt. But the other thing, too, is what do you do about the missing extra points? Like, you could end up chasing points in a game where you're going throw for throw. Oh, go for
throw. To quote my favorite movie, Point Break, give me 2, Johnny.
Yeah. You might have to.
This is going to be awesome. Trust me, if the Eagles had a good Jake Elliott, I think Elliott was there and lost to the Chiefs. Honestly, field goals do not beat the Chiefs. You know that. Go for it on 4th down every time. Actually, they haven't had that many 4th down attempts in the playoffs, but they are definitely playing as if their kicker stinks.
Remember, your punter was really bad the last time around. Wasn't it a backup punter in the Super Bowl 57? Something weird happened with the punter.
He punted to Tony. But remember the punter against the Rams?
Tony.
He was the MVP of the Rams game, the punter. He was killing him.
Well, I was in the snow. Mark is in Dallas. Mark, you have a thought on the question we were asking is, would Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor Swift if the Chiefs win the coolest idea or the corniest idea?
Well, it could be corny and it could be cool, but I think to make it cool, because they're both.
Oh. Mark, whoa. That's hurt my ears. EJ, what was he going to say?
I was going to say the coolest thing with him to do would be if he got to the interview, they ask you how great was Super Bowl win and where are you going to go after the game. Instead of saying, I'm going to Disney World, I'm going to Jared.
Oh, man.
Taylor, do you want to be my wife?
Do you realize she would find the nearest exit? If he turned the proposal into an ad, I mean, I know she's a businesswoman, but even that is just too much.
I get this weird vibe when I see them together. I think he has the power in this relationship. I don't know why. She seems like...
Maybe they share it.
I don't know. She seems gaga over him. I was watching her. Maybe because we're always seeing her on his turf. I know he went to a couple concerts, but she seems like she is the more thirsty of the two. I don't know why. Just a vibe I get. Because she's also had such bad luck with boyfriends. She finally met a guy who seems kind of solid. Maybe that's how I view Taylor Swift.
I don't know if thirsty is the right word. I know that word has been used a lot because she's in the front row of the suite and she's cheering loudly and all of that. But and she knows the cameras are on her. But I don't know if it's that he's got the power.
I feel like she falls hard for people.
I think she's trying to be definitely. I think she's just trying to be supportive. You know, here's the thing. Did you guys see Travis Hunter's girlfriend at the Heisman?
Oh, yeah.
She was like not smiling. Heaven forbid a woman not smile. But she was not smiling. And there were articles written about how she was ruining the evening. You know, like women are held to this really different standard than men are, news at 11. And I think she's not overcompensating, but I think she's extra smiley and looking extra supportive because you can get kind of accused of being a sourpuss, you know?
All right. I don't know. I feel like she is.
Did you not see those articles about Travis Hunter's girlfriend?
But I did see Travis Kelce walking off the field with Taylor in his arm and her just looking up like with puppy dog eyes. I saw him.
Yeah,
I know it. I know puppy dog eyes. I've been the subject of them many times in my life. She's pretty smitten with this dude.
Anyone besides your wife, obviously, Sarah's amazing. Anyone looked at you like that, like how Taylor looks at Travis?
Probably not that. I mean, yeah, no,
I set you up for that one.
I mean, to be honest, like, I kind of get it. Like, he's the football hero. I mean, like, the guy just coming off an AFC title win, I would hope that the partner would walk off arm in arm, kind of looking smitten. Yeah, I mean, I think that's her style. Like, she falls hard, and then something happens, and it becomes a song.
That's why I'm not convinced that this is actually going to happen, this proposal, ever.
What do you mean? Why not ever?
I mean, things don't work out for her. And if pro athletes aren't great at this. Men aren't great at this in general, but pro athletes particularly have issues with this.
I don't know. They get divorced. I mean, Tom Brady got married.
Oh, I mean, guys get married, but like there are a lot of like, you know, the fast lifestyle, the womanizing. Like there's issues that come with this lifestyle. I'm not saying that he's going to run into them, but I just think there are hurdles to us getting to that point. I don't know if there's going to be a fast proposal. What is it, only a year?
A little over
a year and a half?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. And also, how much time do they really spend together? Because she's on tour and he's got a season and all of that. But
I just feel like an amicable breakup is coming in like 6 months or something like that. I don't know.
Ooh, show bet.
Oh, wow.
I think they're going to get married. I mean, he seems smitten with her too, so I don't think it's a one-way street. I think it's happening. He's also like, I have just like, and maybe I'm saying, I think like Travis Kelce seems like a good dude. I mean, he seems like a nice person. I've always kind of thought that about him. He used to come on Dan Patrick's show all the time, and before he was like this massive star, and the guy just sounds like a normal Cleveland guy to me. And even on this podcast, you listen to him, he never like puts on airs. He seems like totally fine. Not like exceptional one way or the other, but he just seems like a nice guy.
We have a poll question out. Would Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor Swift after winning the Super Bowl be the coolest proposal or the corniest? And corniest is winning by a landslide, 89%. And I'm assuming a lot of our following are men. So on our Twitter handle, because we just tweet about sports constantly, and I think men are seeing this as corny. One more thing to update. Perloff made a claim earlier in the show that Eagles fans are the most football knowledgeable fan base in the NFL.
Facts.
Would you like to know how the yes-no breakdown?
Wait, you put a poll up on that?
Are Eagles fans the most football knowledgeable fan base in the NFL, yes or no?
I would say 97% would say no. 3% live in South Jersey.
I'm going to tell you this. Yes is even lower than Bronny James's shooting percentage.
Go Birds!
Which you said was 9%. 7% say yes. 93% say no. Philadelphia Eagles fans are not the most football knowledgeable.
I drive down to see my parents, and I turn on WIP, and sometimes I'm like, what the hell are these people talking about? Like, for some reason, and I know that's totally inaccurate, but it is totally acceptable to talk about, like, five technique and stuff like in calls. Like, the hosts have no idea what the callers are talking about, but they go on with strategy for hours.
I mean, I work there. He's right. That is facts.
Yeah. I don't know if they're right, but they
right.
My brother will say things about like the game. I'm like, what are you? I don't even know what you're talking about. I've never even heard of that. They like to get into the nitty gritty for whatever reason, and most of the calls are about the Eagles. Where I think in New York, baseball shares a spotlight. That ain't the case in Philly.
It was like the dead of June as I start my internship. And I'm thinking, we're probably getting some Phillies or whatever. And all I hear is like, yeah, Chip Kelly in his sleeping program, he's got the guys on. What is this? This isn't football. I'm like, okay, we're right in there. Let's go.
Chip Kelly and his personally designed smoothies. Do you really think that's going to get you a win? The smoothies was like half the calls were about these Chip Kelly smoothies.
This was my day. This was my day every day.
That's your football knowledgeable fan base talking about smoothies.
Well, you guys are in New York. New York is probably the worst football town in the country. Definitely.
Come on.
Wait, hold on. Let's not make this a New York Philly thing.
But I'm just saying, like, they're St. Louis, they're baseball towns and they're football towns. Philly is pure football town.
Okay.
So is Buffalo.
But
Buffalo's probably. I'll bet you that radio is darn knowledgeable.
Jets fans are great. What do you mean?
Well, I'm just saying, like, this is a baseball town. This is not a football town. It's
And the next town.
LA's a baseball town. Like it's just like certain towns are just all about it. Buffalo, probably half the callers could be offensive coordinators, I imagine.
And fancy themselves as 855-212-4227. Okay, so we have a lot there for you. I got to tell you, there was a story that came across yesterday. We have to get to our couple things. Let me organize our thoughts. The person whose draft stock is plummeting right now. We'll tell you about that, what's going on with the Senior Bowl. And two, I'm telling you, I saw a woman get kicked out of an arena yesterday, a video online, for doing something. I didn't know you could get kicked out for that. I just didn't even know it was like possible to get kicked out of an arena for doing what this woman did. So what did she do? We'll tell you next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie Perloff Show. So disappointed in America. Just so disappointed. I guess no one believes in love like I do. That Travis Kelce should combine two greatest things in the world, the Super Bowl and love, proposals. Just have the best day ever, win the Super Bowl, get down on one knee, and ask Travis Kelce, will you marry me?
Wait, what?
I mean, ask Taylor Swift, will you marry me? Yeah, that'd be even better.
That would have been something.
Yeah,
it might happen, dude.
Can you imagine, like, name a better day? Like, what can somebody do that's better? Walk on the moon for the first time? I mean, I can't even imagine a better day.
Yeah, I mean, I could come up with a couple of things. Just because so much of her life is in the public, you don't think she wants anything private, nothing just for herself?
Kind of looking at it from his point of view.
Yeah, well, that's fair. You can vote on the poll, 855-212-4227. You can, vote on the poll. Coolest thing ever, corniest thing ever.
89%?
Yeah, it's a landslide.
I mean, I've listened to the song. She's been looking for a guy for so long. I mean, doesn't she just want that ring?
The Super Bowl or the engagement? She wants both.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here's what Travis Kelce
about?
doesn't want. He doesn't want to end up being a song. So you have to get this right, and everything has to be right. You don't want to end up being in the Taylor Swift song.
Well, she can't say no. She can't say no in front of 150 million people. She has to say
But
yes.
see, that's why I think public proposals are lame when you do it that way in front of that many people. You're kind of putting pressure on, like, you're not going to say no.
Yeah. So it's, from his point of view, it's a great idea.
I would actually love some national statistics on this. I don't know if we can get them. How many people actually say no?
I've always asked this question, Maggie, because you would think that the person who's asking, the band who's asking, if that goes that way, would have a pretty good idea that the person's going to say yes.
Like, and I'm just assuming that it's not, we just met in Cabo 5 minutes ago.
Right.
Now we're going to go to Vegas and get married. I'm talking about real, legitimate marriage proposals, not like we're caught up in the moment, or we're just like drunk or, something like that. Just the real, actual proposal.
There's a 2015 data thing, but it says nearly 1 in 4 women have turned down a marriage proposal.
On the spot?
I would like to know how much of that 25% were those dudes who didn't come with a ring. Because I do think the ring is a factor when that's in your face. Not saying that you wouldn't have said yes or no, but hard to say no when something nice and shiny is in your face. That's all I'm saying.
How many people do you think got left at the altar? That's the worst of the worst.
So I know 2 different people in my life who have called it off like within 2 weeks.
Damn.
Is that left at the altar? Called it off within 2 weeks. I know
That's
2
better
different
than
people.
left it.
And you want to know what? They're both way better off. So I know somebody who married someone who called it off. They ended up marrying the guy, and they have a phenomenal relationship, beautiful family, just everything. And then I know somebody who called it off, and now he moved on. Great relationship, beautiful kids. He's the most successful person I know. So it worked out. Like, go with your gut. Don't marry somebody and then all of a sudden go through with it. And I'm sure, that then you're setting yourself up maybe for years of pain where you could be saving the other person a lot of headaches too if you just call it off.
Or be like 50% American and just get divorced like everyone else.
That's way more expensive.
I'd rather get married. Like leaving people at the altar at the last minute is the cruelest thing any human being can do to another.
But what about
human.
getting married with like knowing that you don't want to be in that relationship?
If she's in the dress, get a divorce. That's way better than leaving her in front of all her friends embarrassed, right? Like, just get married, go through with it, and 3 weeks later get an annulment or something. Like, you can't leave her up in the church, right? Like, you gave 2 weeks notice.
Yeah, this is
2 weeks notice.
It was like quitting.
On Love Is Blind, they all get left at the altar.
Wow.
That's how that show goes.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
I don't know anyone who's been on that show.
Wait, at the altar, is that the first time they get to see each other?
No, they see each other after the pods, and then they live together for a month, and then they probably realize they can't stand each other after a month, but they still have to go through the wedding, and then at the wedding is when you decide, is love blind? Do you accept? Do you want to take them as your lawfully wedded bride and husband? Yeah. And I'd say about 65% of them.
Yeah, because everyone on that show is normal.
By the way, I found reasons for why people turn down wedding proposals. Bustle had a study, and they said. Now, the reason why there's going to be more than 100% here is because people got to choose multiple options.
Okay.
So, number one reason, most unromantic proposal setting, so 67%.
Super dumb.
Perloff. 2, poor ring choice, 53%.
Dexter.
3, bad wording of the proposal, 51%. 4, lack of trust in a relationship, 39%.
That's 4?
Yeah.
That should be 1.
And 5 was scared of commitment.
What was 4? Say it again.
Lack of trust in the relationship. 5 was scared of commitment, 36%.
Wait, mine was incredibly romantic.
Additionally, 39% said that they rejected proposal. That the rejected proposal had occurred in public.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about your proposal. You knocked it out of
you're
the park.
saying like
we're talking about the Superdome.
Kelce,
That's not romantic? It's New Orleans?
New Orleans may be romantic, but the Superdome is not.
Oh, I see.
50-yard line?
Yeah.
No. The only one who wants to get down at the 50-yard line is ludicrous.
EJ, what was the percentage of that got rejected in public? What was that?
I don't have the 39% of these people said that the rejection was a public proposal, not because of it, but it was a public proposal. That makes sense.
Gotcha.
Rachel Green left Barry at the altar. That's a Friends reference.
I know. Yeah. Manny, the way you talk about Friends kind of makes me feel like you think it actually happened.
Yeah. It did. I watched 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Hugh Grant left his wife at the altar, the last scene, and married Andy McDowell.
Hugh.
Spoiler.
Yeah. It's only 30 years old.
Can I tell you?
Sure enough, 11% of these people said that their relationship survived after the failed proposal.
That's not very many.
No, but I thought it would be 0%. Like, that's crazy.
Can I tell you the shocking headline that I came across yesterday? I didn't even know that you could be kicked out of an arena for something that this woman did. Pearl, I don't know if you saw this. It was a Luke Combs concert in Australia, and this woman got kicked out for dancing too hard. And I saw it. I'm going to be honest. Like, she was not revealing any body parts. She was covered up. It was kind of in between some kind of like circular, like, was she gyrating? Yeah. Was she any worse than, it wasn't Jamison Williams after scoring that touchdown that got him fined $50,000. Certainly not that. She was just like sort of shimmying a lot. And she wasn't even really being provocative. It was almost more like a car wreck. Like you couldn't look away. Like it wasn't a pole dance. It wasn't
Australia?
Yeah. And they kicked her out.
I wonder if Australia is culturally being protective after who was the woman at the Olympics with the breakdance?
Oh, Raygun?
Right, yeah.
This is a Raygun related headline?
I don't know. Maybe they're just like, hey, we don't want people out here looking bad dancing for us. I don't know.
Apparently, security had to visit her several times. They kicked her out for quote unquote dancing too hard, according to the Courier
Who
Mail.
made the complaint? That's what we need to know. Who made the complaint that said
probably the person sitting behind her.
Ugh.
But it's a Luke Combs concert. It's not church.
Right.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah. It's weird to be mad at somebody dancing at a concert.
Dancing at a concert. It's totally appropriate.
Yeah.
Nah, get this woman out of here. I'm watching the video.
What are you talking about? Is she doing anything offensive?
Oh, I have to check. Now I got to check.
I just feel like no one else is dancing.
Well, that's their problem.
No, but I assume this is not like part of the concert. Like this is like probably a downtime or something because no one's standing up. Everyone's sitting down.
Okay, but what is it? But what is she really doing? A little twerking? She's not even that good at it. She's totally covered up.
Okay, Maggie.
I'm just saying it's not Megan Thee Stallion out there.
I just feel like there are people sitting, like getting ready for the show, and this woman's just like going up and down this aisle.
Oh, she wasn't in her seat?
No, she's in her seat.
No, she's in her seat.
She's standing up at the seat.
She's going up and down the row, though.
If you can't dance at a concert, though, like, what are we doing on this planet? Like, can't we all just get a little joy out of life? Are you watching her, Pearl?
No.
I'm watching now.
Yeah, I don't really get it.
Yeah.
Also, unless she's super hammered, that's a possibility too.
Well, if she's but she wasn't like yelling expletives or something. It wasn't an Eagles game. It was a Luke Combs concert.
What also striking to me, guys, is I'm looking at this, and she's in the middle of 3 seats. She wasn't touching anybody.
Nope.
She's not that close to anybody.
She's not like in someone's face, like giving them I don't even know.
The video I see, there's like there's one seat in between her and the woman who's sitting there.
Yeah, there's one space, but who was she disturbing actually here?
I think this is probably not. I don't think music's being played.
But
to be honest, she's kind of dancing like a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader is kind of the vibe I was getting. It looks kind of cheerleader-y.
What's hilarious is as security comes over, she just continues dancing.
Oh, she twerked at security. That you can't do. But also, to get kicked out.
I think that was where I was like, yeah, get her out of here. That's when I said that. Because, security came over and she's like still dancing.
But then...
But no one can answer the question of why is she the only one dancing at a concert?
EJ, maybe she's dancing the music in her head.
But EJ, this appears to me like, before a concert when the DJs are just, playing some music for the crowd because everybody's just sitting there. It looks like it's at that time.
Yep.
You don't twerk during that moment. That's
maybe
when
you do.
Just...
Now, so I'm watching. The security leaves and she goes right back to dancing. She's dancing in her chair.
Yeah.
I don't have a big problem with this. I'm kind of with Maggie on this. I don't have
if I was that woman that was one seat behind, like next to her, I would have been so annoyed. I'm like, come on, man. The concert hasn't even started yet. Can you chill?
Oh, my gosh. No fun. Dexter has headlines for us. What's going on, Dexter?
Hopefully a little bit. Nothing about twerking, I'll tell you. There's no headlines about twerking. I can tell you that. Guys, just
That's
starting.
A shame.
It is a shame. In baseball, right-hander Max Scherzer and the Blue Jays, they agreed on a 1-year, $15.5 billion deal. Now, the 40-year-old future Hall of Famer, he's coming off an injury-plagued season with the Rangers in which he made just 9 starts, went 2-4 with a 3.95 ERA. Does anybody believe Mad Max can still be a productive starting pitcher in Toronto this season?
I mean, he better be on everything under the sun.
You mean Roger Clemens, Toronto style?
I mean, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying if you want to get through the season, I can't.
I mean, if Verlander's still going, then you can't count out anybody, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Verlander in this exact same spot come up big? I'm not saying Verlander took something. I'm just saying.
We'll see. Be interesting. Good luck, Blue Jays.
Will it?
The funny part to me, I'm bummed for Toronto because it feels like the Blue Jays, like, we have money. We want people to come. And there's something, about having to cross the border so many times and all of that. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's that, like, players are not choosing Toronto, which is a shame because the team has the potential to be very good. You have this great young core, and all I keep hearing is, other teams just salivating over the day when Vlad Guerrero Jr. eventually wants to get out of there. And it's like, it's such a bummer because Toronto has such a good baseball history.
Yeah, and a really good city.
And a great city?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. Also in baseball free agency, guys, Jorge Polanco re-signed with the Mariners, 1-year, $7.75 million deal. That'll keep him in Seattle. 5-star shooting guard in college basketball, Elijah Arenas, the son of former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas. He's committed to USC. Now, 24/7 Sports has him as the number 1 ranked shooting guard in the class of 2025. He announced his decision on Thursday on his dad's podcast, Gil's Arena Podcast, and Elijah had visited his dad's alma mater, Arizona, along with USC before making his decision. Did he make a good decision not going to Arizona to play where his dad played and going to USC?
Oh, he could have been with Bryce at Arizona.
Could have been. Yeah, that's the next player you're excited about, right?
LeBron's other son.
His other son.
Yeah,
By the way, Elijah can go. His son, like this kid,
yeah,
he can go. He's gonna be.
No one else feeling a little old that Gilbert Arenas has a kid who's going to college.
One thing, USC basketball will never hit though. Like they've had great players, like they've never gotten it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you remember like one USC team? They're like, this team's gonna win the national title ever.
Nope.
A program that's great at football.
Right.
It gets a lot of superstars randomly, but never except Juju. I mean,
what,
she's
DeMar
amazing.
DeRozan?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
On the you're right. On the women's
they
side,
had Bronny, right? I mean,
it's another mystery to me. I'm like, UCLA has been great at times. Like you can't find 6 guys from Southern California that can hoop. Like I don't understand the recruiting.
Baby Jordan, it still didn't work. It's a doomed program for some reason, but. So this guy's for real?
No, he's good.
He's nice.
Yeah, so he'll do 1 year there. They're not going to do anything, right?
Probably.
I love Eric Musselman, though. He may be able to. I mean, if I was going to bet anybody could do something at USC, it'd be him as a head coach.
We shall see. Last thing I got, guys. Got some good news from WNBA star Angel Reese. Reese had a surprise birthday gift for her mother on her unapologetically, Angel podcast. The Chicago Sky star gave her mother a birthday cake, and then informed her that she had paid off her mortgage and could now retire. Reese's mom almost dropped the cake in shock, but was clearly appreciative of her daughter's gift. Reese called paying off the mortgage, quote, a dream come true. Really nice story there.
I mean, that's the good stuff, right? When we get to see athletes do this, buy their parents' houses and cars and, just take care of people. And I'm sure that's got to feel so good for the person doing it. Don't you wish we could all do that?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, that'd be super fun.
And I wish I could have proposed to my girlfriend on the 50-yard line after I buy my mom a house. Those are the two highlights. That's why you play sports. Is Angel Reese playing in this Unbreakable League or whatever it's called?
Unrivaled?
Unrivaled?
Yes, she is.
Oh, okay. I was curious. I thought I saw her playing the other day. That's cool.
She is playing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't get into 3-on-3 basketball.
I've watched a little bit of it, not as much as I would like, and it is good and competitive. There is something just because of the spacing of the court. 3-on-3 full court, I kind of wish they made it half court. I feel like it'd be a little bit
like the
more.
big three.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've tried a lot of times. It's been in the Olympics now for a couple cycles and the big three and all that. I just can't get there. 855-212-4227. Okay, we still have some more news that's coming out this morning. Athletes being investigated. We'll get to that. Also, we must do our Senior Bowl tidbits. Whose draft stock is falling for a reason I think pretty flimsy. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Yeah, he called the Unrivaled League the Unbreakable League.
Oh.
So go back to Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, very good. Welcome back to the show. So we've been talking a lot about the Super Bowl. We've been talking a lot about Saquon Barkley and the running back renaissance that we saw this year, and is it going to continue? And if Barkley doesn't win the Super Bowl and kind of finish the job, if you will, Pearl, does it take a little of the not the shine? He had a great season, but does it take a little steam out of the story?
I don't think so. I mean, 2,000 yards could have easily broken the rushing record, but they sat him in the week 18. It's I think rings are a bigger deal for a quarterback than a running back. Nobody knows. Like Earl Campbell is a god, Barry Sanders is a god, and nobody cares about how many rings they have. So Saquon, I think, is fine. Also, it's a copycat league. People are gonna be like, "Ooh, I want that Saquon." Best free agent signing ever. I've heard that. I mean, I don't even think it's close.
I've heard a couple best free agent signings ever. I think Reggie White.
Nah, I mean, maybe.
We should do this as a great debate.
Randy Moss
was a great debate?
Well, Randy Moss was a trade, wasn't he?
Yeah,
but that was a good one, too. But, I mean, Reggie White was, I'd have to see the numbers. The Saquon 2,000 yards was pretty darn good.
It's amazing. We also got into, we got off the rails a little bit on the whole, would Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift if they win the Super Bowl? Perloff thinks it's a great idea. High recommend.
Best idea I ever heard.
I think it's corny. We put a poll out there at Twitter, at Maggie and Pearl. Go vote. Dominic is in San Francisco. Dom, you think there could be a downside if Kelce wants to propose?
No, he's got it all set up. He's got the ring inside the Lombardi Trophy, ready to go. Very romantic. Now let's flash back to the game. There's 3 seconds left. Chiefs are down by 6. Mahomes hits Kelce in the end zone right on the numbers, and he drops it, a la Jackie Smith. Taylor Swift dumps him and ends up hooking up with Saquon Barkley, and everybody lives happily ever after.
Dom, what are you writing? Fan fiction over there? That's not real life.
That's perfect.
Maybe for the screenplay. I think that Saquon might be married.
He definitely lives with his partner and his kids.
I don't think he put a ring on it yet.
I don't think he's married.
Well, maybe he will if they win.
I think
no one's thinking about that plot twist.
She would go.
Hope not.
It'd be obvious. Like if Travis Kelce drops it, like what is the obvious replacement here? I mean, just go straight to Noah Gray, his backup, who looks, in the uniform. They have almost the same numbers. Like, no, she might have kissed Noah Gray by accident at some point this season.
Hey, no, I need you to do me a quick favor.
Yeah, right. This is an old Jerry Seinfeld joke about how he says why the groomsmen always wear the same tuxedo as the groom, because in case something happens to the groom, you just get him out and get the next man up. And you go, do you take this man to be your house? It's better when Seinfeld does it. Let's talk about the Senior Bowl. So the only reason why we would be talking about that when we are so close to the Super Bowl, Perloff, is because a couple big tidbits have kind of fallen from what is the unofficial beginning of draft season.
Big or small?
Yeah, fair. I'll take some music here. Cheer this up because Jalen Milroe might be a little bummed. The Alabama quarterback is at the Senior Bowl, Perloff, and apparently the size of his hands has become big news. Want to explain?
Yeah, so what's the actual measurement? Is it 8 1/4? What's our 8? It's below 9. And I saw a stat that he would, if he got drafted and was a starter, he would have the smallest hands in the NFL of a starter. So, and we know, like, obviously anybody who's ever played any sport, hand size is huge. And Milroe's had a massive fumbling problem with Alabama. It seems like this is a big, big problem.
Now,
small problem.
Yeah. It depends how you want to put it. I used to think this was kind of BS. We had this discussion quite a bit around Kenny Pickett. He said his hands were small and that you never thought he was going to amount to much. He's now your backup quarterback. But anyway, I'm kind of coming around on your take here.
It's not my take. I mean, I think everybody thinks, like, given all things being equal, wouldn't you want your quarterback to have big hands?
Well,
what's the opposite take?
To be honest, I want my quarterback to have a big brain. Number one, I want them to be smart is the first thing I want my quarterback to be. But I think you're right about the hands thing. I think it does kind of lead to fumbles, especially if you're in a cold weather outside stadium. Right. Do you think this is going to impact his draft status? Just the hands alone.
Okay, 8 3/4, by the way. He's robbed him of half an inch. Yeah, of course it will. But also he's performed really badly. And also he played really bad at the end of last year. He's crazy good at running, but he's never shown consistency as a passer. So I think it's pretty clear he's not going to be QB3 anymore.
Another big tidbit that's come out of the Senior Bowl is Dillon Gabriel's release. Yeah. So clocked as the fastest release from a quarterback in the history of the Senior Bowl, EJ, or all pre-draft? Also the Combine. Okay, so Senior Bowl and Combine. Thank you. I think this is probably a good thing for Dillon Gabriel. Having a quick release is fantastic if you're a quarterback. Offensive linemen will love you forever, of course. They don't want to block for that long. And Dillon Gabriel's a little undersized. This could be good for him, Perloff. I thought this was a big tidbit.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. He tied Joe Milton, right, for the fastest pass ever. And Joe Milton didn't really get drafted high, though.
Which I think kind of was a bit of a mistake. Joe Milton, when he played that final game against Buffalo, I know Buffalo wasn't playing anybody, but Milton was balling out. He basically cost the Patriots the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, but he fell in the draft because he didn't produce in college. I mean, Dillon Gabriel did produce in college. Dillon Gabriel, like, have you ever seen a player closer to Tua Tagovailoa? Like, the two of them are exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Tua's a little better.
I don't know. Really? Is he that much better? I think they're very similar. Is he? In what sense is Tua better? Yeah, I guess he's a little better, but I feel like they're the same dude. Did they go to the same high school? I know they're from very close to each other.
Very close by.
They came up the same exact way.
Well, this is what I would say. It's not that Dillon Gabriel can't be great. It's just it's taken Dillon Gabriel a lot longer to get from where he started to where he is, than Tua, who came in as a freshman, replaced Jalen Hurts in the halftime of a championship game, and then led them to a title. Dillon Gabriel was on 3 different schools, had to develop.
He was amazing at all of them. No, I mean, Dillon Gabriel's always been good. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but it's funny when you said that. I'm like, is Tua really that much better?
Tua went 5th. Do you think Dillon Gabriel's going 5th?
No, I don't. But I mean,
of course not.
Dillon Gabriel, I don't know if he got Heisman votes at UCF, but he was certainly close. He was perfect. I mean, he's amazing. He's just too small for the NFL, right?
Well, I mean, that didn't stop Tua.
Should have. I mean, that's one of the all-time bad mistakes was taking Tua over Justin Herbert.
Well, and then they doubled down and paid him.
Yeah, so it does seem. I was telling you before the show, Rick Spielman, former Vikings GM, who has a podcast on CBS Sports Network, CBS Sports HQ, said that he is almost sure, and everybody else saying Jackson Dart's going to be the QB3 and maybe a first rounder now. So that's the big Senior Bowl star. I get it. I mean, Jackson Dart feels like Dillon Gabriel's too small. Jalen Milroe has small hands. Like, there's no real problem with Jackson Dart. So somebody's got to rise up here. It seems like the pre-draft process is going all towards the Ole Miss quarterback.
Last little draft Senior Bowl tidbit is Elijah Arroyo. That's the tight end from the University of Miami. EJ's favorite team is doing great. He's become one of the standout sort of studs from the Senior Bowl, so that's a name to watch as well.
He's been really a weird guy at Miami because it took him 3 years basically to finally get on the field, but he was a big recruit. He had a really big start to the season. They kind of went away from the offense. He's lit it up at Senior Bowl. I'm not surprised because he's a great athlete. You see these tight ends like Kelce and some of these other guys get drafted second round. I kind of wonder if Elijah Arroyo kind of goes under the radar and becomes a star in the NFL as a second or third round guy.
There you go.
Wait, are you saying that he's going to play tight end? What?
What I'm saying that like we've seen tight ends, not necessarily guys drafted super high, but guys in the second round, sometimes guys in the third round, they become mega stars like Rob Gronkowski. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sam Laporta was a second round pick,
exactly.
Right.
Like I think he's a name to pay attention to. A guy who maybe didn't have these super gaudy stats. Some of that had to do with the offense. There were a lot of weapons at Miami. I saw Todd McShay was just raving about Arroyo. He said he looks like one of these elite F-style tight end quarterbacks. I mean, F-style tight end guys. These wing guys.
Yeah.
He's nice. I think he's going to be an impact player.
You ever heard of Travis Kelce? He also a third-round pick.
He was, and
he failed a drug test. I was just reading about him, about how the Chiefs love the character guys.
How dare they?
You got to draft the weed guy. It's a bad tie. You'd be lying again, but always draft the weed guy.
Stay off the weed.
All right, so on Monday, Manny's going to be holding down the fort back here at HQ.
That's right.
EJ, Perloff, and myself will be all headed down to New Orleans. We're going to start there Monday, kicking it off a great Super Bowl week. We've got a lot of other cool things in mind and in store, and I'm looking forward to this. I think we're going to have a really good time. Our guest list is awesome, top notch, and we're still going to keep the show the show. So despite the fact that we're going to have a few more interviews than we generally do, the show will remain the show.
And we are going to eat a lot of food, so we might be a little bloated on camera.
Yeah, I mean
Nick Costas mentioned beignets earlier. You have all these rich sauces.
I think it's the sodium that gets you.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Galatoire's, delicious.
Everything is, it's all like emerald food. It's all crazy salty and good.
I feel like everyone else goes to, well, not everyone else, but a lot of people go to New Orleans, and yes, for the food, but they're like, grenades and hurricanes and drinking all that stuff. We're like, no, simply the carbs.
Beads.
Carbs and the sauces. I know. Perloff, very popular on Bourbon Street.
Oh, my.
Thank you, E.J. Stewart. Thank you to Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, and Dexter Henry was in today. Did a fantastic job. The Weedos, the coffee drinkers, Nick Costos. We'll see you Monday from NOLA.